Hi dudes at ringside, it's Akila here from CPW Wrestling. I just want to do a big shout out and congratulate you guys for reaching 300 episodes on your podcast. Hope to see you guys really soon. Cheers!
Hola ringside crew, this is Naya Robles here, and I'm here congratulating you all on your 300 episode mark. I am so happy for you guys, and I hope you guys get to do many more. Hope to meet you guys soon enough, and forever and always saying hello from the island of enchantment. Hasta luego.
Hello, my lovely killjoys of Dudes at Ringside podcast. I'm here to wish both Metal Geek and Joe Panther III a very, very special happy 300th episode. Congratulations, guys. I've had the privilege to be on the show a couple of times now, and so have my friends. Actually, even I made an appearance with my lovely fiance, Tyler Osborne. And I have to say, my favorite moment of all time being on there has to be Mom and Dad are fighting again. Iconic moment. Anyways, congratulations, guys. I hope you have 1,000 more, and even more than that.
What's up, dudes at ringside? Congratulations on 300 episodes. I think my favorite part of my interview was probably when I was talking about beating people with a cane, or like with grandpa's cane or grandma's cane. Anyway, good times. Check out Dudes at Ringside if you haven't already. It's a good time.
Yep, 100% guaranteed you'll be on my next show. What a great deal I've made for Savage Pro Wrestling. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Savago. I'm the promoter of Savage Pro Wrestling, the hottest new promotion going. And I gotta say congratulations to the Dudes at Ringside podcast. You guys have been a great supporter of us, and we can't wait to see your 300th episode. You've done so many. I gotta say, I'm so impressed with all the work you guys do behind and in front of the camera. You guys are stars. And I gotta say, my personal favourite from your podcast gotta be Kiara, the Queen of Savage. And anyway, keep on doing what you're doing, guys. You're doing a great job. Not as great as me, though, running Savage Pro Wrestling, but still great.
There's antimony, arsenic, aluminium, selenium, and hydrogen, and oxygen, and nitrogen, and rhenium, nickel, neodymium, neptunium, germanium, and iron, americium, ruthenium, uranium, europium, zirconium, lutetium, vanadium.
You guys invented the move, man. So
Yeah.
Straight from the creator's mouth.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
Oh god, that train's gonna be really long, Geek. We'll be like there for like hours and be around the whole arena.
I reckon some of the production staff can hit harder than the wrestlers. That's
jeez.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am the one and only, the voice of a generation, the voice of We Are Wrestling, of Invictus Pro Wrestling. Pete Rosado alongside Metal Geek and Joe Panther Jr.
Right up there. He was like, what the hell are we doing? We're like, we're going to grab you, we're going to backflip, you're going to front flip, we're going to do it.
It's the Pride City OG on Instagram and Twitter. Same handle on TikTok too. Follow their podcast. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're even on this show listening. It's obviously because you're a fan of me, but nah. You know what it really is? It's because you're a fan of this podcast. So follow everybody, bro.
These are the only ones of which the news has come to Harvard. There may be many others, but they haven't been discovered.
Wow, Joe.
Wow. Hello there, wrestling fans, and welcome to the 300th episode of the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your lovely host, Joe the Panther the Third, and now from the top of Metal Mountain, all covered in streamers and balloons in the middle of the mosh pit. That's gonna be an accident later. It's a happy yourself, the Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, International Known? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Joe? Welcome to episode 300! 300!
Who thought we were going to make it that far? Just talking to each other.
Some people thought we'd make it past 10.
Yeah. we had some people in our that we used to hang out with during the podcast, but
All right.
no, it's always over that.
All right,
but
you
yeah. Oh my
introduce you, man.
gosh. Yes. Is everybody here, Geekums?
We have some people, but
Okay. Let's give a warm 300th guest welcome to Sarah Bubbles and the one, the only, Bobby frickin' Blaze.
All right, Sarah, you gonna say hey or what? 'Cause if not, my deal's this: it's Bobby motherfucking Blaze. Let's get that right off the top.
Motherfucking Blaze, Joe. You messed it up, man.
300, baby. 300.
300.
Congratulations. Haven't had a podcast of my own that we stopped counting after 200, and I think we did another couple after that. I can't remember how many months we went, but 300, that's a huge number, and congratulations. I mean that most sincerely as a person, as a human being, as a podcaster, and as a former professional wrestler, trainer, but loving podcast. Congratulations, gentlemen. That's awesome. Awesome.
Thank you. It means a lot, Bobby, because, like, as I said, I'm Mr. Old School, and, like, I told people that watch wrestling that watch wrestling by me, and they're like, Bobby Blaze? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, do you realize how cool that is? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. It didn't hit me till now. Even more.
Oh, man.
Even more.
The legend Bobby Blaze right
like,
there,
wow, man. That's great.
Legendary.
PA. You
Well,
got
I'm
people
glad to
in PA
be here,
too.
man.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No
And
problem.
Sarah, good to see you.
As always.
It's
I have the
it's
pleasure
good to
of
be
seeing
here.
Bobby quite
Seriously.
often.
Miss Bubbles, it's been a while. It's been a while since I've seen you.
It has. It has.
So, either of you, if our fans are not familiar with you, even though our fans would know who lovely Miss Bubbles is, introduce yourself.
Well, I would hope they would know Bobby more so than me. He should be more well known. But I'm Sarah Bubbles. I've been training for a little over a year now. I train with FTC Wrestling out of Ironton, Ohio. I am the female powerhouse. I'm the Bubble Buster. And I'm just here to spread positivity and burst anyone's bubble who gets in my way. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And hopefully in the near future, I'll be getting on YouTube.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, Sarah Bubbles, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Gentlemen, thanks again. Joe, Metal, check it out. So, yep, I'm Bobby Blaze. I said Bobby motherfucking Blaze. There's an old story to that, but I'll get into that maybe later on. We'll just see. But the bottom line is I know who I am. I'm secure who I am. And I'm old. You mentioned, Joe, you say, you're the old school. Well, I represent that, man, because I'm old but I had my first match September 11th in 1988, long time ago. I think that's 34 years ago. Currently, I'm the head trainer at FTC. The failure to conform over at the wrestling school. And, this is something that's been going on. FTC has been going since 2016. And about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I started going back over and all the shit going on in the world, whatever. But nonetheless, man, I'm glad to be here and glad to be a part of something. I'm just going to throw us out there from the top. Life happens, and that kind of happened to me. I had a very good career. I'm very blessed, very fortunate. Life happens, like I said, but I put this, and we'll get to some books and stuff in a minute. I'm not here to plug all that. We're here to have a good time. But a famous author named Richard Bach said this, and I put it in a book. And Sarah can kind of attest to this last night. This is kind of one of the things I said outside leaving the building after we'd done training. Here's a test to find whether your mission on Earth is finished. If you're alive, it isn't. And so I put that in one of my books because life happens and things happen in my life. And I took a little trip down the bottom of a little step yesterday. And Sarah was way out in the parking lot, the rest way back here. And I said, motherfucker, that little step about got me again, but not tonight, but here's the thing, the deal was this. I was like, because I feel like I have that one more good thing left of me. And when this opportunity came to help train at FTC, that was a one good thing. And then a lot of things, just sometimes things happen in your life. And I just keep thinking at my age, and I'm not saying I'm 90 or whatever. And hell, if I'm lucky to be 90, I don't. If I feel like this now, I don't know how I feel at 90. I'm just saying. But I've been very fortunate, man. And life goes on, and I'm still here, and I'm not done yet. I've got that one more good thing in there, in here and in here, to help people, pay it forward, give back to something I love, which is professional wrestling. And before COVID and some different things happened, and going back, I've always supported indie wrestling. I loved it. I've loved professional wrestling since I was 10 years old, and that's a long time ago. And also, I've always supported women wrestling, especially as a trainer, because as we was talking off air a few years ago, we were training some people, and I said, man, if we just had a couple of girls or ladies, and Sarah, if I say the boys, it includes the girls as well. It's just kind of, that's just old school mentality or whatever. But right now is a tremendous opportunity as a female performer or professional wrestler. And man, I don't see people, I hear them say this. I see it on a license plate about blessed and this. Fuck all that. I won't say I'm blessed. I'm lucky. You know what I am? I'm living life, and I'm fortunate to be where I'm at and be able to give back to and pay it forward for something I love. And that's professional wrestling. Hot Tui sports entertainment. Just saying. There you go.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Yep.
So a couple of questions. Bobby, I was just gonna ask, what was it like working under Jim Cornette in Smoky Mountain Wrestling?
Well, Jim gave me my first big break in the United States. And what a lot of people don't know, unless you know the full story, and I'll just kind of share it rather briefly here, it took me 9 months to get in with Smoky Mountain Wrestling. When I was in Florida and I had been training, and I went to a tour in Canada twice. I'd been in South Africa. And long story short, I knew Tommy Rogers from Fantastics, worked out the same gym I did, trained out Malenko's and this and that. And I was trained by the great professor Boris Malenko, and we'll get into his son, who you all probably know as the Iceman, Dean Malenko. So Tommy ran into me and said, hey, Bobby, I've been working this territory. It's opening up. Jimmy Cornette's opened a territory, and this is in Florida, up in your home area. Aren't you from Knoxville area? Well, I'm a couple hours from Knoxville, but in Kentucky, Tennessee, that whole tri-state, quad state area. And I said, yeah. And he goes, man, Jimmy's going to start something big, and you ought to give him a call. So I gave Jimmy a call, and he said, hey, Bobby, I'm really busy. I'm on the line with so-and-so. I'll call you back. Well, he didn't call back that night. I saw Tommy the next day, and he said, did you talk to Jimmy? I said, briefly, but he didn't call back. He said, be home at 9 o'clock tonight. Jimmy will call you. Long story short, I was. Jimmy and I had this great conversation. I'm not full-time, and Jimmy never lied to me. That's where I'm going with this, okay? And Jimmy paid me every cent that I ever earned working for him. And I have so much respect for Jim Cornette. And, yes, I'm a Cornette guy. Put that out there right now. So, anyway, the next night, Jimmy calls. We have this great conversation. He says, well, I'm not opening full-time yet, but these are the plans. Here's some dates. If you're in, I said, well, I'm down in Florida. I just kind of feeling it out, whatever. So I had a tour already planned to go to Australia. So again, in between, I get back from Australia. No, I get back from Canada. I'm sorry. I get back from Canada. I go to a show about an hour from my house, meet Jim Cornette personally, because I'm back in Kentucky for a wedding. And anyway, so I talked to Jimmy in person. He's like, yeah, Bobby, I heard a lot about you, blah, blah. So I go do that tour, 18 weeks, whatever it was, 9 months. So I go do that. I contact Jimmy. He says, yeah, we're getting ready to go full time. I'm telling you, I've got something for you. Just give me some time. I go to Australia. This is early 93. I do a tour over there with, if you want to get into it, we can, but huge, big tour. And I get back, and Bobby Fulton calls me. And thank you, Bobby Fulton. He says, hey, man, Jimmy gave me your number and says, would you like to work some? I got a couple shows. Would you like to work them? I went for Bobby Fulton shows. And that Monday night, Bobby called me back and said, Bobby, I want you on every show I can put you on. And I tell Bubbles this. Bobby Fulton said, come here. And I'd been over Australia working every fucking night. I was tanned. I had the blonde hair. I worked out. I looked halfway. He goes, come here, lock up with me. We went in a shower. And I locked up. And Bobby said, you got a job. I'll see you the first, third, and main event. Because that's the way Bobby runs the shows, like the old shows out in Dallas, the way they did them, 12 guys, a referee, and you did a captain's match at the beginning. You did a, come back as a third match of the gimmick, and then you worked the main event with your partner from the captain's match. Word got back to Cornette, and Cornette calls me after the Bluegrass Brawl and says, "Hey, Bobby, would you like a tryout?" Robert Gibson twisted his ankle, and he's working Bobby Eaton is up in Pikeville, Kentucky, and Robert took a bad spill, twisted his ankle. I said, "My God, a tryout match, yes." I tried out Brian Lee. Again, this is a bathroom story. And Cornette and I have so many bathroom stories that's funny as fuck. Just tell you that straight up. He goes, "Bobby," so I get to the show. I'm in Beckley, West Virginia. He goes, "Bobby, come in." So I've already talked to all these people. Dutch Mantell, Jimmy Golden, Tom Pritchard, whatever. And we're sitting there kicking. Jimmy comes in. He goes, "Bobby Blaze, the second most famous person from Ashland, Kentucky." Well, at the time, Billy Ray Cyrus was blowing up. And I'd heard that shit because I had a chance to be in the old Achy Breaky Heart video. So and I didn't because I knew Billy Ray through a mutual friend. He was working at the gym. Long story, but the bottom line was I couldn't because I was going to be in Florida, and it just timing wise. So I see what I thought he was going to say, and he looked at me and goes, "Charles Manson being the first." And of course, I popped big time because I'm like, how many people know fucking Charles Manson had been through and visited, lived here for about a year or so of his life in Ashland, Kentucky? And Bubbles kind of heard that with Brox a couple weeks ago. Brox knew the fucking house. Damn psycho. But anyway, just saying. So I was like, yeah. So Jimmy goes, "Come here." So we go to the bathroom. And again, we got some bathroom stories. We done one at WrestleCade. He told another story. But anyway, about me and Dan Severn. So I know I'm going around the world to fucking cross the street, so to say. I go to a bathroom. Jimmy's like, "Hey, Bobby, thanks for coming in, blah, blah, blah." Brian Lee comes in. He goes, "This is Brian Lee." I already met Brian Lee at the one show I'd went to before. I knew him from Florida. And he goes, "He's our TV champion currently. He was our first champ, blah, blah." He goes, "Yep, you'd care to put him over?" I looked and I said, "Jimmy, this fucking guy's 6'8", 280, 300 pounds. I said, "Brian, what's your fucking finish?" And Brian was still kind of back then. He was just kind of like quiet. And he goes, "Well, I do this thing where I pick you up and I put you on my shoulder. I do a thing called a final countdown. And we hit, boom, I twist your pin. Brother, no problem whatsoever." And I go, "You want to do anything special?" He goes, "You're the heel. You caught a match." And I go, "Yes, sir." Cornette says, "Hey, Bobby, thank you so much." I'm like, "I'm trying out for your fucking company. You're thanking me, you know?" And so I go out there, have a good match. I do a couple of deals. The late Mark Curtis is referee, of course. And so I do some things to Brian, and he gets up and he says, "Dick drag me." Well, I start cracking up because I know at this point I'm over because we're talking a little bit in the ring. Like I said, I've been in Australia for 20 some odd days, 25 days working every night, and I'd been trained. And so I just gave him an arm drag and started cracking up. And then we lock up and he takes me to the corner. He's telling Curtis Hildebrand, he goes, "I dare Cornette to hire this motherfucker." Well, I didn't know how Brian spoke at that time. So I was like, is he being like offensive to me? Like I dare him to hire him like I'm worthless. And then he done a couple things. He was like, but Brian Lee used to always say, "I dare you," meaning in a good way. And he goes, "I'm going back and telling Cornette. I'm telling Cornette." He kept saying it to Mark Curtis. And I'm like, what the fuck's he going to tell him? Well, he gave me a good report, of course. And that's when Cornette called me a couple weeks later. And I did a 4-day loop because Robert was out. And I got to open up every night show. They moved, Ricky Morton was up top. They moved Horner up top. And they moved me to the opening match. And Tom Pritchard, Dr. Tom, worked the opening match and the main event. And now, how cool is this? When you ask how I got to work with Jimmy Cornette, he put me in a first match with Tom Pritchard and him managing Tom from the Heavenly Bodies. So the guy that owns the company is watching me that far away.
Wow.
And I'm in there with Tom listening to what Tom's calling because I'm a babyface. We're over in Kentucky and Virginia area doing the 4 days. And I put Tom over. Tom, we didn't even talk. He just said, "Hey, do this, do this, do this." And he said, "You know how to do this?" And I said, "Yeah." Did it. He reversed it. Power bomb. Boom. 1, 2, 3. Easy. Okay. So fourth night, we're about an hour from my home. And Curtis comes to me and says, "Hey, Bobby, what's your finish?" And I said, well, don't tie my boot. I'm like, I'm fucking putting Tom over in the first match, whatever y'all want. He goes, no, we brought a guy in that's going to put you over. Jimmy likes you. We like you here. What's your finish? And at the time, I just did his drop kick off the top rope. And I said, just tell the guy to watch drop kick off the top rope. And I go, by the way, who is it? Told me a guy's name. I said, oh, I know him from the Indies. I worked with this guy and knew he was good too. I said, just tell him to watch the drop kick off the top. The rest is easy. And the guy's name is Mike Sampson. Good looking guy, good body. And had worked in Memphis and some places, USWA, etc. Went out there and gave me a good match. And after that, Cornette gave me a break, man. Worked for him for darn near 3 years. Never had an issue with two things. He got heat whipped me one time, and we'll go into that story later because I want to eat up all the time here. And then a money thing that he just said, hold on to this. And both of those things were rectified and taken care of in that time span that he said he's going to take care of. Those two things. One is I was getting ready to go out there and watch Larry Santos. We had these spots worked out, and I was there like 2.5 years time. And I won't say worked out, but a beginning of the match. And Bullet Bob was in the middle. I was up top the stairs. Larry was at the bottom. And I turned around for some reason, and I said, Larry, forget everything I said about the opening. Attack me as soon as the bell goes off. So I'm over to take my jacket off. He attacks me. Boom, boom, boom. I get on him. Northern Light suplex, 1, 2, 3, win the match. I come through, and there's Cornette. God damn you, Bobby Blaze. You motherfucker. You dumb son of a fuck. And it's Cornette rant. And he's going, you trained by Malenko. You know 1,000,001, not 1,000, but 1,000,001 fucking moves. And you go out there and have a guy goddamn attack you as soon as you take your jacket off. I'm like, I'm going to stop the stairs now going, what the fuck? And he's just ripping me a new one, man. And he goes, and I felt sorry for this guy because I really liked him a lot, but it was Doug Furness's brother, Mike Furness, right? He goes, I got Mike Furness that can do one fucking thing, and that's a tackle. And I had Killer Kyle attacking him when he takes his jacket off, and that motherfucker can't do nothing except for take his jacket off and do a tackle. Now I got to change the whole fucking match. So he had to put a sub match in there. He ran down and put a sub. This is TV. Put a sub match in there in total, so there wouldn't be two matches where the guy got attacked. I remember going back to Robert Gibson with a new asshole, and so I could barely sit on a bench. I go, and I had to do another match. Me and Hoot was tagging because Ricky was gone at that point for a couple of months, and another story there. But anyway, I said, fuck, man, I lost my job, Hoot. I'm done, Hoot. And he goes, Bobby, you know how long I've known Cornette? He said, forget about it. As soon as he's done, he's done. Don't worry. I said, oh, no, man, I fucked up. I should have went out there and wrestled a guy, done what I had to do, Northern Lights, and get out of the ring. Who's like, Bobby, Jimmy's done forgot about it, believe me. I shit you not. Half an hour goes by, 45 minutes, whatever, for the next segment. And I'll be damned if Brock's Boulder don't show up. No.
And then Brock shows up.
Yeah. And then I get ready to go up there, and Jimmy goes, Bobby, you and Hoot, I had Tommy Rich and Terry Gordy. He goes, have a good match. And that was it. And we never spoke about it again. That's how it was working with him. Later on, another situation came up, and he said, Bobby, hold this check until Monday and do me a solid. And it's good after that. And that was it. You know, I held a check until whatever time, another week or whatever it was. He asked me to hold the check, knowing it would bounce if I got home and, but he knew. And he said, just hold it, do me a solid, hold it for a week, and it'll be good. I'm like, I wasn't broke, and I didn't need it that particular second. I held on to it, and the next week the check was good. So everything Jim Cornette did for me, said for me, helped me out. I love Jim Cornette. I'm a Jim Cornette guy, and I respect him so much in the world of professional wrestling because he helped put Bobby Blaze on the map, let alone in the future puts the junior heavyweight title on me and eventually puts me in with Jerry the King Lawler in the main event in Knoxville Civic Coliseum and gives me a run with his title, the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. So working for Jim Cornette was a complete pleasure. Bar getting my ass rimmed for about 5 minutes, but other than that, for 3 fucking years, and to this day, there's nothing but love and respect. I know it's a long story, but that's how I feel about working with Jim Cornette. How can I not work? How can I work? I say this. How can I work for Jim Cornette and not learn something about the wrestling business? Him, Bobby Fulton, Buddy Landell, all the guys I got to work with, especially Jimmy, one of the greatest minds in professional business, wrestling, and Kevin Sullivan being there as well. How can I not learn from Jim Cornette and Kevin Sullivan when they come to you and say, Bobby, this is good. Let's try this. Don't do that. Let's do this. And we're going to push you. Fuck. I'm over like Rover. Thank them guys so much, you know. And thanks for asking the question. Good question. Brox, welcome to the program. Bubbles over on the fuck she's talking about. She won't shut up. You're on the Dudes at Ringside podcast wearing a Bobby Blaze shirt. Say something.
And we're the 300th episode, too.
Yeah.
Welcome,
300.
Brock Boulder. Welcome back to Dudes at Ringside, my friend. What have you been up to?
I have been, just running the wrestling business and all, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
How are you guys?
Good.
300 episodes deep now, brother, man. This it's independent wrestling to me. Like, if any of our past guests are watching this podcast, we just want to send a huge thank you to everybody. Everybody from every state we've conquered. Not conquered. That sounds so wrong. It sounds like my state now. Hoss. It's called Pennsylvania. There you go.
Geek State. There you go.
Would Geek State be New York? Be Geek York? There you go.
I guess so.
Geek
so.
York.
Geek York. There you go.
Yeah. So like every country, every state that we've had on this podcast, thank you. Thank you for answering your messages. Thank you for putting up with our shit. And thank you for making all the promos. And thank you for just telling your friends. My dad always says to tell the wrestlers, tell your friends. Yeah. That's number one. And and also by us doing this podcast, we have now opened up our eyes to indie promotions from all over the world and all over the country. On my YouTube, all I get is people from England. I get people from Tennessee, everywhere. Geek. It's just I put YouTube on and I'm like, ooh, what state is this from now?
It's funny. A wise man told me that he felt like that the independent scene was dying, and it was dying, and it was almost dead. And then just here in the last few years, it's almost resurrected itself to where it's everywhere, and everywhere there's a good independent promotion that runs. Here it's FTC, it's our promotion. We're the lifeblood around here. I feel like we're the standard in this area. But you go anywhere, and there is a standard wherever you go in independent wrestling now, and it's because of the training that these guys are getting and being professionals, which is the most important part about wrestling, being a professional and doing those things. And all those things I learned from a very wise man. I don't know who taught me that. But
yeah. The one by me, it's the one in New York. It's Creative Pro. They dominate over in New York. So
cool.
Oh God, they so dominate. It's everybody else thinks, oh, this is our market, and then Creative Pro just looks down them like Andre, you stupid. It's puny human.
Yeah. What's really good about our area is ours is they're spread out by an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yep.
So we can have our own territory, if I can say that, if that's a thing again all of a sudden. Great show, by the way.
It's becoming that, I think, Brox. I really do.
It's almost getting back to that territory again, because with us, we have one that's about an hour and a half away that's up towards Charleston, West Virginia. Bobby and I are attending a really good one that's in Chillicothe, Ohio. It's about an hour away on Saturday, ran by Bobby Fulton. I'm just telling you, it's becoming a territory thing. And in here, when you think about wrestling in this area, everybody's like, well, FTC is the gold standard. This summer, we spent the whole summer at Carter County Fair, Lawrence County Fair, Boyd County Fair. We were at the Martin County Fair. We were all over the place this summer. We ran, 8, 9, 10 shows all summer long, and all of them saying, please come back next year. Yeah. So it's becoming a territory again, I feel like.
Yeah. And this, again, thank you guys for recognizing your fans. If it's not for the fans, we don't have a show. You don't have a podcast. But thankfully, you're doing something positive. You're doing something good. and FTC's out there doing our shows, and the fans, they show up. We have a group of people that show up every show, irregardless, and we just keep picking up more and more fans, and we keep expanding. And it's really like Brock said. I said it. Pro wrestling has coming off life support, and it's got up off the fucking bed. It's opened the doors. It's walking down the hall, and when you open those doors, man, they're stepping out there going, "I'm back," and it is. There's a lot of good opportunities in independent professional wrestling right now, and there's a lot of good promotions out there around the country, and I'm sure around the world as well. So, thank you, fans.
Yeah, thank you for coming back.
Yeah.
It was like last July, I went to my first show with Metal Geek on Long Island. What was it, 13 years since me and you actually were physically sitting next to each other at the Show Geek?
An independent show, yeah.
Yeah, we did that Friday. We did 5 shows, 5 podcasts, and then we went to a show, and we were sitting each other, walking around the arena. Nobody knew who we were. And I'm like, I said it to Geek last week, I said, do you think it's going to be the same when we actually go to a wrestling show together again at an indie show? Do you think the fans are going to be like, oh, who are they? Who are you? Yeah. Or do you think they'll be like, meh?
No, I still think they'll say, who are you?
Yeah, Asian lady, who are you? Oh, no, she doesn't even know me.
That's
case,
okay.
Who you, gringo?
I heard this great thing by Henry Rollins one time. He went to this country, and he's photojournalist in addition to being a fucking hardcore legend, rock or punk rocker, artist and author, etc. And he went to this country, and there's like this wild shit going down a couple blocks away, like almost civil war happening in the streets, And then here's a white, American, and this guy jumps over, and he's kind of stereotypical, we'll say Middle Eastern or whatever. And he's got the gun and all this, and he's looking at Henry Rollins, and he goes, because he's kind of feeling him out, like whose side you on and this and that. And I've used this. It's worked. It's worked for me. And the guy was kind of aggressive, and he goes, who are you? What are you doing here, man? And he goes, hey, my name's Henry Rollins. I know you don't know me, but I'm here to meet you, man. I'm here to meet you. And he's taking photos, and the guy starts explaining what the hell is going on down there. And Henry didn't even know what he was getting into, like whose side's this and whose side's that. The dude took him into his home, didn't let him stay in a hotel they had booked, and just he figured out the whole political scheme of things by just saying, I'm not here to fight. I'm here to meet you. I'm here to just see what's going on in your part of the world. I've come up on people on the street before, and at a show or whatever, it's no different. Who the fuck are you? Well, you know what? I'm Bobby. I mean, I'm sitting here. I'm meeting you. How are you? What's going on in your world? Be surprised how their perspective and their questioning changes all of a sudden. Like, oh, well, I'm John Doe, and oh fuck, put their gun down or whatever. Not that that's happened, just saying, or recently. I've had some different fucking neighbors. I've lived in crack and meth areas, prevalent throughout this area, unfortunately. But I'm like, God damn, I'm not here to fight you. I live here. Chill out. Let's talk about it. Oh, okay. And that happens. They don't know that you're the guy that's went and wrestled all around the world, or that you help train young people, up and coming talent, or whatever. I'm like, hey man, I'm Bobby. Nice to meet you. I live down the street. There's no beef here. Don't fuck with me. I ain't fucking with you. We're cool. And that's what you do at them shows. You meet these fans, and like, God, they didn't realize that's Sarah Bubbles. That's Brock Boulder. Oh, that's Bobby Blaze. I remember, or whatever. And that's the way it should be. Not that whole aggressive, like the lady you mentioned. They don't know you. Fuck it. They don't know you. Tell them who you are, and let them know, man. Hey, that guy, that girl, they're all right, man. That's 2 guys that do the podcast. That's just 2 dudes doing a podcast. That's who they are.
Look at that.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Bubbles, won't you? Can you calm down a little bit?
Yeah, really.
My God,
have a drink or something.
Good.
Yeah,
God.
something.
I wish you'd be this quiet on.
Listen, I mean,
That's great.
Bubbles.
Sheesh,
I just want to hug her. I'm like, Bubbles. No, wrong way. It's okay, Bubbles. It's okay.
right away.
My hands are here.
You're trying to hug Geek over here.
I was trying to like a fake hug or tap on the back. I didn't know like mirror thing.
Here,
It
here.
gets me.
You can touch the ponytail. There. You can
Oh,
touch the ponytail.
yay. Aw.
Look,
I gotta get canceled for that.
I've known her 2 years and I've never touched her ponytail. Just so you know.
It's gonna come back to haunt me. Like Joe touched my
People
ponytail.
like to talk, Bobby. People like to talk, Bobby. We got to keep our distance.
I know.
Hey, I have to.
You're only old enough to be my dad, not my grandpa. Remember?
God damn you! I thought we had this talk already. You don't have any baby girl issues. No, sir, nah. It's all good, honey. It's all good. I know. I deep down know.
Oh no, you're gonna give Joe a heart attack. Oh no.
Seagulls?
We just had that discussion yesterday about that. Go ahead, Sarah. Tell him I'm not your granddaddy, but I'm not trying to be your daddy.
Joe,
either.
do you need a minute? Do you need me to take it off the screen for a minute?
She says she don't have daddy issues, but
Just do
Brock,
There you go.
Rocks.
There you go.
Um,
There you go.
I think I know, Brock.
I don't have daddy issues. My father.
I know that. We talked about that.
No, I don't.
Next thing you know, Bubbles be wearing Orioles shit to training. And by the way, Geek, I'll tell you the story. We have
Tell
a
the story.
We have a trainee
Oh
here.
jeez.
She'll remain nameless, but you guys know her.
Yeah.
So, all right, welcome back, Joe. You got a good story
Welcome
coming.
back, Joe.
Joe just tuned in just in time. He's like, good story? All right, I'm back. I'm back.
Listen, you know why I never talk? This is why. They don't let me.
I said,
hey, you had an opportunity.
I said that next thing we know, Bubbles will be wearing Baltimore Orioles shit to training here. Oh, we have a, who I won't name, but you guys do know her. She has been on your show.
Oh.
Show money, huh?
Always, yeah. She always seems to wear Baltimore Orioles crap to training, which is, as we all know, Bobby Blaze's favorite baseball team. So he gets gets the best positions in line drills and all this other stuff. She gets to go first, and she's always first to get drinks, and so now Bubble got the whole daddy issue thing worked out with Bobby wearing Baltimore Orioles shit going on.
I don't have daddy issues at all. Dad, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. It's the boy. It's not me. Blame these guys. It's not me. Chase them down. What? You have plenty of property. Bury them wherever you want.
Listen,
She's a good girl.
Watch it because I am her favorite wrestler, and I don't want her to be mad at me.
Go.
You talking about my mom?
Yeah, I'm talking about your mom.
No.
Yeah, I'm her favorite wrestler, just so everyone knows. I am
Brock
Bubbles.
is my mom's favorite wrestler. So here's a funny story. I don't know if I've told this on your guys' podcast before, but
No, I don't think
when my mom comes to our shows,
I had a drink.
she wears two shirts. She wears my shirt and she wears Brock's shirt. She always asks who's going first. So she wears that shirt on top, and whoever's going second, she wears that shirt underneath. And so after the first match, she takes that shirt off for the next match.
Oh God!
So that she's not the favorite, between her daughter and her favorite wrestler.
Yeah, and I was talking to this one girl one time. You talk about a fucking mic drop. So I'm talking to her, and Sarah, here's the thing that happens is like I'm like kind of inviting myself over to Thanksgiving. I'll go to your mom's house, your dad's house, and they'll be so glad if you bring me along because I'll get along with your parents. They'll love me. And she goes, so when your mom takes off the last shirt and she has a Bobby Blaze shirt on, which ain't happening, just saying this other chick goes, yeah, Bobby, you know what it is? Because you're the same fucking age they are. And she threw the broom down. She was sweeping in the store. And I'm just talking to her. And she goes, I know you get along with them just fine. You're the same fucking age they are. Threw her broom down and walked away. I cracked up so fucking hard. And she goes, mic drop. And that was when that thing was popular. And she threw the broom down. And I was like, God damn, I just got burnt. Now I sit at this table just sitting there like having a beer. And I go, whew, well, that hurt. And we're still good to this day. But it's like, she got me so good. So Bubbles, if she wants a Bobby Blaze shirt or a Baltimore Orioles shirt, I'll get her one. And she can wear it underneath the Sarah Bubbles and the Brock shirt. which probably ain't going to happen because she got a husband and has no daddy issues, obviously.
Baltimore Orioles.
He's a big.
Well, I was there for a long time, several times, so I lived
So
there.
listen, I have the memory of a
Joe's getting the
goldfish.
tattoo. He's getting the tattoo out now.
Oh gosh.
see it.
I love the whole Eastern Division there.
Wait, Joe, you want me to put? I'll put it on you. There you go. Hold on.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay,
Right
show your
up here.
tattoo again.
I knew what it was going to be. I knew what it was going to be anyway. So yeah.
How about
But
the
it's all
Orioles?
good.
How many?
Hey.
When are they playing in the playoffs? When are they? What's them? What's their
No.
time slot?
My youngest son's named after Brady Anderson. I was there, not the night Ripken broke the record, but the night before he tied it.
Yeah.
But I just like that whole the American League East. I like that division. That's what I was brought up on. Other than Cincinnati, that's my favorite National League team. So here's the deal. I deal with two fucking losers all the time through baseball season. Although we won, 1990 with the Reds, and I go back to 83 at the O's and this and that. But, here's the thing. New York, this year maybe, Dodgers. I mean, the teams with the fucking big market money teams are the ones going to fucking win it because they can afford to fucking – once the guys had 3 or 4 years at Baltimore or Cincinnati – they fucking just hire them. Come on in. We'll pay you this, this, and this. And I'm not getting all the fucking, what do you call that, baseball negotiation. It's just the way it works. It's a fucking business. And you're paid for your talents. And you know what you need to do is go to those big market teams so you can win a fucking ring, a trophy, and get paid millions and millions of dollars for something that very few people that walk this earth can do. And that's play professional baseball or football or basketball or even professional wrestling. As I tell these two and many other people were there training yesterday, and so many people say, I wish I could do that. Well, if wishes was horses, beggar would fucking ride. And I'm looking at them going that no one rides horses anymore, Bobby. I get it. Well, they'd fucking still be out there hitchhiking going, I wish I could do that. But you know what they do? They sit on a couch and don't do shit. But these two and a few other people, they get out there, they train, they bust their ass, they do what's asked of them, and they represent independent professional wrestling, and it's happening all over the country, all over the world, and it's off life support, and that motherfucker, fans are going back to it because they're seeing quality professional wrestlers, and that's to the baseball thing. That's why your New Yorks and your LAs and whoever is going to win those big titles because they're getting paid rightfully. And these two, along with so many others, should be so lucky that some of these big companies, whether it be AEW, WWE, or whomever down the line says, we want you, come here, do our TV, be an extra, do a dark match, or be a star, whatever, and get fucking compensated and paid because you busted your ass in the world of professional wrestling, and you deserve this, you deserve that, because you have put into it, and that's the way this business works. You get out of it what you put into it. And that's my rant. But anyway, there you go. Go New York. Go ahead. I think Dodgers may have it this year, but I don't know nothing.
Yeah, I know.
I
know.
Just saying.
They both deserve it, by the way. They both do deserve it.
Yeah.
Like, I personally think that, like, Brock and Bubbles, you guys are doing big things. Like, I know you've only been in the business in a short time, Sarah, but, like, the stuff I've seen you post on your Instagram page, I'm like, wow, she's doing a lot. This girl's doing a lot. Yeah,
she had a match in February, and one of her matches, and I see several people. I run into them at the gym or here or there, and I had a person, and then another person say, "Man, I can't." And they had another match, her and Reese Ramon, the show pony, and in June, it was on my birthday. So from February to June, people have come up to me and said, I can't believe those are the same two girls I saw just a few months ago out at Du Bois County where we were at the community center at the time, which was not one of our regular locations, which may be in the future, but our home base is probably the Rone Theater. We've luckily got back in that in the last couple of weeks ago, I guess. But they could not believe how much they improved from February or January until February. That shows February till June. It was the same two girls, and they tore it down that day. And the same thing with Brox. He stepped up. Is a year ago, October 1st, and we were in a small building because we couldn't get to Rone. And 100 of our regular followers, fans of FTC, and Brock said, Bobby, I'd like to talk to you about something. And he just threw something out there. I said, man, I don't know. I think you're doing good. Just hang on. Well, that night, he won a big fucking battle royal. He won the fucking OAG, the Art of Grappling Championship, and he's carried that well. It was the right decision. And our fans are following these people. They're following Sarah Bubbles. They know she's going to burst your bubble. And Sarah, when I heard her say, I'm going to burst your bubble, not bust your bubble, and I heard her talk a little bit, I said, this girl's educated. I don't need to help her too much on her promos. Give her some points, bullet points, boom, boom, boom. She can take them from there. I don't think I've ever said too much other than, well, you know where the fuck you're at. You know what you're doing. Get out there and do it. She does it. Brock's the same way. They both got strong promos. In ring, they're doing wonderful things, learning each and every day, up in their game with suplexes. Sorry about that. Kick my mic. Suplexes or moves or learning or whatever, and having matches and carrying the shows. And there's them two and a couple others. This is just me speaking, letting everyone know at their world of professional wrestling, independent wrestling, whatever. They're ready to do extra work for AEW or WWE. They're ready to expand outside of FTC, which they have. They've worked some different shows. They've worked for some different promoters. And I don't know if they'll get rich, but I do know this. They will keep on expanding their fan base, because when I say rich, because promoters, sometimes people make this and they make this, and I always tell people, first you learn to wrestle, then you learn to work, then you learn to make money. They're starting to learn to make money. They learn to wrestle, they're learning to work. Now they're going to learn to make money. And I'll get to this in a minute about Dean Malenko. One thing about that is I was at one point, and I'm doing this and doing that, and Dean said, learn to not let the wrestling business use you, but you use the wrestling business for you. It took me years to figure that out. I'm so glad I can pass that on now. But that's what's happening to them. They're learning to get out there and get these bookings, etc. And they're getting to where, like you said, Joe, at the show, well, who are these two guys sitting by each other? They didn't know me or whatever. They're getting to where people know them outside of like FTC in our surrounding areas. They're like, oh, okay, this is Sarah Bubble, this is Brock Boulder, this is, the Geek Metal, this is Joe, whoever. We're getting that stuff happening now, but it takes time, as you all know, to build up. That's why we're here today, episode 300. You started somewhere, and I know how hard it is. When I was doing a podcast, my partner and I, he was called the Geekish Cast. Jeremy had a thing, and I appeared at his program. I had a chance to be on some other programs, and finally we did a deal, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into details on that. But we reached episode 100, but we had only agreed to do 18 months, and we needed a break. We did that. We took a break. He got sick. I got sick, and this and that, and things happened. And neither one of us fortunately had COVID. He had some health issues. I had some health issues. We said, these people want us to do back. Let's agree to another 18 months. We did another, so we got to 200. We kind of quit count, like I said. So for you guys to reach 300, if you're out there in podcast land or Podcastville, I'm telling you, it's hard to reach 300 fucking podcasts. And I'm honored to be on here with you two gentlemen, along with Sarah Bubbles, along with Brock Boulder. And it's a pleasure because I love doing these podcasts and I love being a part of the wrestling community. And I might be that motherfucker, got up off life support and walked down that hard and kicked the door open and said, all right, motherfuckers, I'm here. What's next? What's fucking next? Because I got that one more good thing left of me. Was the match, whether it's a book or whether it's just training young people. There's something good in all of us. We got that one more good thing in us, So that's what I'm all about. And I hope these two understand that because I think they do. And again, congratulations on 300 episodes of the Dudes at Ringside podcast.
Absolutely. And
definitely
add something to the congratulations. I mean, How many times have you in your 300 episodes, 299 for that matter, have you had two champions on at one time? Yeah. Because right now, sitting above me, about right here, is the current FTC.
Here's a story.
The Brady Bunch right now.
There you go. Someone caught the reference. There you go. Sarah don't watch TV, but anyway.
I'm just saying it. You got two champions on your podcast right now. I mean, so we're honored to be here, but also you're welcome.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's a
Brox
great
is
one.
so humble. Like, I don't even know how I don't know.
Here, I'll do this.
He's going to get it. I thought he was going to get the stuff. I thought he was going to get the belt, man.
He's getting spruced up, you know?
Oh, he's fixing his hair.
That's no Buddy Landell move. Pull out the comb and start like, all right, we're gonna put him over now, Brox. We got it. You know. But
So
no.
does that mean I have to get that picture on front that came through my Facebook memories today of the upside down Oriole and send it to Reese Ramon? Be like, yo, Reese, how you doing? How you doing?
Go for
Bobby,
it.
X's in the eyes.
If Ric Flair could have one more match, you could have one more match too.
Somewhere.
Right?
Brock versus
That ain't
Bobby?
happening.
What? No.
Hang on.
I can't do any more goddamn jobs.
That's
My manager come to me and say, "What? You put this guy over? What the fuck?" No, I don't know if there's one more or not. We'll see, and who it'll be, I don't know. And I do think there's probably a couple more that may proceed that leads up to that one more, but we'll see. And that's all I know. I don't know nothing, man. I didn't know what was going to happen last show, and if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, that took place a week or two ago. No idea, and it just happened. And for the references, Brox is the Art of Grappling champion, and as Buddy Landell said, and as Arn took away from, and I even compliment when Arn was here, he had the shirt that had the glasses that said toot toot. I won't toot my own horn, but toot toot. You know, I'm the FTC champion. How it happened, I don't know. It just happened. But here's the thing: the person that dropped the title, I started telling us about yesterday in training. We was talking about different things. I have a lot of respect for this gentleman. I helped him years ago. He's a legit tough guy, MMA fighter, and this and that, and he had the strap. And the bottom line is he done a huge favor for FTC and for myself. But here's the thing. He didn't lose a match. I won a match, and there's a difference. So he still has all the respect in the world. And it's just like when I went over on Jerry Lawler, I would say beat Jerry Lawler way back when I was in Knoxville at the Civic Coliseum. They put the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight title on me. Well, how many times has Lawler been beat? Doesn't matter. How many times he won? Doesn't matter. He's had a fucking successful career. And that night, he didn't necessarily lose the title to Bobby Blaze, but Bobby Blaze won the title from him. And if you're a wrestling fan or understand what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you do, there's a big difference. So how you win and how you lose is just as important to the fans, whether you are a loser or a winner. But the bottom line, I think, is every time you step out from that curtain and into that ring, you're automatically a winner. Win, lose, or draw, if you give your best effort, you made it to the show, you're a winner. And you do what's asked of you. And like 2 things. And I heard Terry Funk say this with championship, and I've used it in reference to the Smoky Mountain Heavyweight Champion. I didn't beat anyone. They penciled it in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're working. We're trying to make money. We're having fun. And then with a bigger comparison, no disrespect to New York on this one, or New Jersey, etc. One of the best things I've ever heard was by Little Steven that played Sal on The Sopranos. And I was watching Talking Sopranos, and I read his book. And he said, and he's in the E Street Band and all that, the character, etc., right? Everyone with me? Except Bubbles. She don't watch TV. But you heard a TV show called The Sopranos, Bubbles? Yes? Cool.
Yes.
Guys,
Yes.
I know you're with me. But what do you think happened in the last scene of The Sopranos? Some people say Tony died. Tony lived. It was a dream and this and that. And Little Steven said, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. And he said it on the Talk of Sopranos. He said it in his book. And apparently it's one of those answers early on, way back when the series ended. He goes, this is what happened. And this is what happens in professional wrestling sometimes. So I have a point. He said, the director yelled cut, and the actors got up and went home. So when I won that title from Lawler, that's what was penciled in. The promoter, the owner said, this is what's happening. Bobby Blaze goes over. I went over. I won. The matches ended on Sunday, Bloody Sunday, and the fans went home. And most of them went home happy. For a fact, and these two can attest to this because Brock's brought up being champion. When Brock went over in last year for the Art of Grappling Championship strap, the place went crazy. I had no idea. So a couple weeks ago, October 1st, 10 or 12 days ago, whatever it is, whenever you see this podcast, I went out there. I done what was asked of me. The champion done what was asked of him. It happened. Boom. And guess what? All the fans were fucking happy. That's the way. That's good writing. That's good creativity. That's life. That's hot tooey entertainment. I always do that. But it's a work. And we worked. And no one knew but about 4 or 5 people. The same with Lawler. About 4 or 5 people knew. Myself, Cornette, Lawler, Mark Curtis, and Buddy maybe, and White Boy. 5 or 6 people. And of course, Bob Armstrong knew, the commissioner. But that's it. You kept it kayfabe. We kayfabed a couple weeks ago all the way up to that night. And you guys could tell me your experience or tell them your experience at that show, how over it was. It's a work, but I loved it. I'm glad to be a part of it.
I'll tell you mine for sure. Just as a comparison, there's a balcony in the Ronay Theater we have a lot of our shows at. It's an old play theater is what it is, and it's been revamped, and the neon's out on the roadside on the front of the building. It's a really nice place.
Yes.
But there's a balcony, and that's where a lot of us workers will go up and watch the matches away from the fans. That way we can watch and things like that. Well, there was me and I think Bubbles is up there with us, and Titan Troy, who's my new tag team partner. We can get to that if you guys eventually want to. Juan, where's Juan? He's like Waldo. Nobody knows where Juan's at anymore. Anyways, me and Titan Troy, a couple others was up there, and when he wins that title, I lost my ever-loving mind. And to put it in comparison for you guys, I was fortunate enough to go to Dallas this year and watch WrestleMania.
Wow.
Me, the owner of FTC, and then Troy, my tag team partner, and a couple of us went down to Dallas and watched WrestleMania both nights. My hero growing up was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm old. I'm 41, guys. So I lived through the Attitude Era. That was my era for wrestling. So Stone Cold was my hero growing up. So to go see Stone Cold Steve Austin in Dallas for the first time in the ring in 19 years, when that glass shattered, I lost my ever-loving mind. But to put it in context for you guys, I lost my ever-loving mind the same exact way when Bobby Blaze won the FTC title. If that tells you guys anything, the respect that the guy has in our locker room and in our school and just in the area, I lost my mind like I did for Stone Cold Steve Austin, who, in no disrespect to Bobby, is one of the biggest stars in wrestling ever.
None taken on a comparison. You told me that the other day about start tearing up, had to fucking walk away.
Arguably, maybe one of the best. I mean, and I have a skewed view on things. And we won't go into this very far if you don't want to, but I have this view of that Stone Cold kind of saved wrestling when he came around. I thought it was downhill, and then Austin 316 was born, and then it turned into the Attitude Era.
Absolutely.
Maybe not agree with it, but that's my view on it. Bobby Blaze, for me, winning that title, not that I had any kind of like ill feelings or I was getting burnt out or anything like that towards the business. That's not it at all. Because as Bobby says, you come to these trainings, you go to these shows, and no one made you. So when you show up, you're doing it yourself. and I do that every week. So I still love the business, but watching, and I know he hates this word, but watching my trainer, one of my trainers, because Jillian Hall is a big part of my training as well, but watching one of my trainers, my mentor and my friend, win the FTC title and lose my mind like I did with Stone Cold, man, I can't tell you. I got chills right now just talking about it. We all lost our mind, every one of us, because we're all trained under Bobby. We've all learned something from Bobby. So all of us up there lost our freaking minds, and that's the impact of Bobby Blaze. If you needed that, whether you needed it or not, you got it. That's the impact of Bobby Blaze.
So I told that story for a reason about the Sopranos. Okay. The director said, cut. The actors went home. This is professional wrestling. You know what the greatest hold in professional wrestling is the hold that it has over its fans, including myself. That's the best hold, man. Now, I can go on and say the worst hold is this, the office hold. The office hold is when they got the pencil. The pencil is the worst hold. They pencil you in, lose. Don't pay. Okay, that's the worst. But the best is the hold it has over its fans, ourselves included. Because I told you, I think yesterday when I was speaking, and I'll tell you, gentlemen, and I'll tell the world in this podcast, if I'm not agenting a match or haven't trained a person or know the finish, I don't want to know, because when I go, I still want to have that moment of disbelief. I'm paying or being a part of something or viewing in the back. I want to see that finish, and I want to pop myself. Oh, that was a good finish. Oh, they fucked up. Oh, it's great. They missed it. Oh, yes, because I'm still a fan at heart. After all these years, thankfully. And I had Kevin Sullivan here at my home before, and we done a seminar, and I said the word Mark, and we was talking about this yesterday as well. And he goes, don't disrespect the fans, Bobby, as saying, Mark, we're all fans. We're all fans. And I was like, oh. And that was about 5 or 6 years. I can't remember my time frame with my mind. Sometimes it could have been longer than that. But fact is, he was here and he said it. And we're all fans, you know, and so that's the whole day that we have as professionals. We've got that hold over the fans, man, and to that last moment, and you do the kick and you do the DDT, and it's 1, 2, 3, and it's like, oh fuck, boom! There's what you work for, that pop, and everyone there. Oh my gosh! It doesn't matter if it's my match. When you got a match right there, and if you're one of the people right there, like you were saying, Brock, you just fucking lose it. Like, I can't believe it. That's what we work for. That's what we train for. That's what we live for. Let's get that pop, you know. So anyway. Yeah.
So I'll chime in real fast, boys. This is why I don't talk much, because them. I can't point right. Anyway, so I know I'm not quiet about it. I didn't know a lot about wrestling before I started training, and so still, like, I find it hard to just become a fan of wrestling. Like, I watch wrestling for research purposes for the most part, but I was watching that show, you know, mostly for research purposes, and I see the guy, the previous champion, come out. And he starts talking, and I know it was, you know, work, but then he starts talking about the man that we love, Bobby. Like, we love Bobby.
Thank you.
And so he starts talking about Bobby in the most hateful way, and I'm like, this can't happen. Like, this is not okay. Even if it is a work, this is not okay. So I start getting a little heated, you know, and I'm looking at the boys. We're all up there in the balcony, and I'm like, what do they? And I always look at Brock's, because if anyone's clued into something that's going on, it's most likely going to be Brock's. So I look over at him, and he's kind of getting a little antsy, a little heated. Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, something's not right here. And then the guy just keeps talking. And I'm like, what's happening? So I literally asked him, I'm like, okay, we going to the locker room now? We're going to, like, rush the ring? Like, what's the plan here, boys? Because that's not how this is going to go.
Yeah.
Like, and then the promoter comes out, Joe, and I was like, all right, finally, like Joe's going to shut this guy up. Like we've had enough because nobody talks about Bobby like this and gets away with it. Like, because I was like, I felt the emotion, you know what I mean? Like I was on that, Brock's named it. It was a roller coaster. Like I was like, okay, so you would have to see this guy to understand, but this guy's like jacked. Like he's probably every bit of 6 feet tall and he's like solid muscle. But I was ready to like take him down. Like all 5'1" of me was ready to beat him to a pulp because he was talking about Bobby, who I really admire and I adore. And I see him as a friend and a mentor. And you know what I mean? Like I was ready. I had all the emotions. And then Joe says, but I'm not your, I don't remember what he word, competitor or something.
Oh, no.
Then Bobby comes through the curtain and we just erupt. We're all just screaming. We're all just like, yeah, oh my gosh. And so we're just going nuts. Bobby comes out there and he just like takes care of him. Like, I think they said 8 seconds.
Wow.
Super. And we were just losing our minds. And I remember going down, like, because as soon as it happened, we all just like take off. One of the boys said, I don't know who got out of the balcony faster because we're all just like, you know, we wanted to see Bobby. We wanted to go talk to him and be like, oh my gosh. And I remember going down and I said, I get it. I understand why people really like wrestling. Like, because I was never able to understand it until that moment when I was actually invested in one of the wrestlers. And I actually like cared about that guy. Like, because I remember the night that Brox won the championship and I was like, I don't know if I ever told him this, but I was like legit crying because I was also watching from the balcony that night. And I was like legit crying, but Brox and I are like, shoot, best friends. I don't know if he sees it that way. So if not, hey, I see you as like a bestie. Anyway. But that was like before wrestling, you know what I mean? So I knew him before he was a wrestler. And so I felt like that was different, but I didn't know Bobby at all before I started wrestling. So I know like people who are in the wrestling world to think that I had never heard of Bobby Blaze before I started wrestling. They're all like, that's crazy. Like how had you never heard? But so now to like know him as well as I do and on the personal level that I do and to have like that deep care and respect, but to reach that level of intensity.
Thank you.
Emotion.
I'll get your ass in a parade and get you a damn icy.
You've already done that.
And I know you two are shoot friends, but thank you so much.
So in the Orioles shirt, I wear a size probably like medium. Just saying.
Oh God, you're gonna make me get all like Orioles. Man,
no,
like,
I already owe you a
emotion
Blaze shirt.
though. That was
I know
really
that.
cool.
I do like that shirt, Bobby. I do like your shirt,
That's a
Elliot.
good shirt.
I have those shirts, but I don't have bubble size, and I already owe her a Blaze shirt. So now I guess I'm out getting fucking Oriole stuff too. And I didn't do it, but I almost sent a private message to the show pony the other day saying, "Man, weather's changing." Because I wore one my youngest son was in for his birthday, and we looked across the table with the lunch, and I was like, we both had Orioles hoodies on, different but same Orioles. And he goes, "Is that like mine?" I'm like, But anyway, I started saying, "It's weather's changing. Bring out that O's hoodie you wear sometimes." And I didn't because we used to do this deal where people wore the same T-shirts or different things, sock, whatever it was during training. And I was like, this is failure to fucking conform. I'll wear what the fuck I want to wear. No one's going to, I'm a grown-ass man. Don't tell me what to fucking wear because I wear just the opposite. I'm not going to some fucking private Catholic school. I'm not a part of some fucking club because if I'm like the old saying, I don't want to be a club. If I'm a fucking member, I don't want to fucking be a member of it. Fuck that. I'm my own man. But anyway, they'll get those references about the old shirts and stuff. But coincidentally, sometimes people do show up wearing certain things and you're like, whatever, you know. And that's a good thing because if you like the Yankees, you like the Yankees. You like the Cowboys, you like the Cowboys. Depending on what your sport is, you know. You like the Orioles, you like the Orioles. You like FTC, you like Bobby Blaze. Wear a fucking T-shirt. Get one, you know. Yeah. Get one. Get a fucking book while you can. Let me get a cheap plug. I'll get more cheap plugs in than an anal plug. Boom! I'll be here all night. No, just the first cheap plug I'm putting in there right now. Just ease up. Let me lube it up. Okay.
Fist out.
If you go to, there you go. Damn. if you go to Amazon and go under Bobby Blaze Medley, or just go into Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. That's my first book. Or I kicked out onto The Educational Wrestler. Go there and purchase a book. Download. It's easy to fast, easy to download. Or get a print edition and get it for the wrestling fan in your family for the upcoming holiday season. Get one for yourself if you don't have one. They both average out about a 4 or 5 star rating. And when I ask people, I don't go around begging for reviews. I don't interact on Amazon with any reviews. All I ask for is a fair and honest review. I've had one review that I asked to be removed. That was because the book review was Bobby Blaze sucks. Well, that might be true, but it's none of your business who and what I fucking suck. But the book didn't. The book didn't. That's not a review. That's a joke, people. Yeah. Again, help me here, Panther, please. But anyway, no, I'm just saying. So I've got a lot of fair and honest reviews, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate anyone that downloads the book or gets a copy of the book. And the same go through the T-shirts. And I'll try to hook you guys up. I've got a couple of deals I have to take care of right now before I reorder anything. But when I do, shoot me an email or shoot me your addresses via private email, and I'll try to do what I can do. And and I do. Appreciate that, but I've got to, and I owe Sarah Bubbles damn. Now I owe her a medium Blaze shirt. I already knew about that. Now I got to get a fucking Baltimore Orioles shirt.
But the book,
you're a book too.
She wouldn't read it. She wouldn't.
I have to send Sarah a nice New York Yankees hoodie because that's more respectful and the colors are nice. I give you I'll find you a bright pink one. Match your
Just
whole.
do that. Hook her up on that because that's gonna be more over. Honestly, I see people. One of my best friends is a Yankees fan. You know what? I like baseball. I love baseball. I enjoy it. But Brock's and I, we both like Cincinnati, but we don't talk about that often. We talk about baseball here and there. We talk about wrestling. But I like and the same thing about UK football. We like UK football, but we realize, oh fuck, we're going to get beat this week, or this is going to happen. We're going to upset someone. But we don't go around going, oh, fuck. Did you see that fucking game? No, we sometimes rolls off our back like water off a duck, you know. But I'm deep down going, oh fuck, I know Brock's probably watching that today or whatever, you know. So to me, it's just like all about whether it's political, religion, sports, whatever. You know what? Like Henry Rollins said, man, I'm here to meet you. Let's just get along, man. Let's just get along, have a good time, get you a shirt, wear a shirt. And I guarantee it, if she had a pink fucking New York Yankees hoodie or shirt, it's more over than the fucking anything in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Believe me, I lived there. I know anything's going to be more over there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
now
something.
listen, Joe, you live in Pennsylvania, don't you?
Yeah, for 15 years.
Hey, Brox, if he lives in Pennsylvania, tell him what I really want from there.
Okay, what do you want?
Listen, if you're in Pennsylvania, I don't know how close you are to Pittsburgh, but she's gonna need a Steelers hoodie.
I'll look and see what I could get. I'll see if I can find some Steelers something.
That's what I want.
She's definitely a Steelers fan. She's a Steelers. I am too. I'm not laying it
You know,
on.
it's funny. I grew up in New York, and I'm a diehard Jets fan. If I go to a Steelers game, I'll throw in a Steelers jersey. I'm not gonna be like, ew, this is disgusting. Like,
listen, I was this close to having a show in McKeesport. This close, which is like a half an hour from Pittsburgh. And then they canceled the show like last minute.
Well, I just saw what Show Pony did during one of those shows. She actually donned a what's that?
The Ohio State jersey. Is that
oh
what
my
you're talking
god,
about?
dude, she's about to die.
We're not even going to talk about. Listen, I beat her so hard in that show.
Myself,
like I beat the bedazzling off of her in that show. Just saying.
I loved it.
I was like, dude, I'm in PA, so I kind of laughed because Penn State and stuff. I was like, what? She wants to just go. If this was New York and she wore that, but like.
No.
We
were like an hour from Columbus where Ohio State was playing at home that day.
Oh, Jesus.
And she had the nerve. Like, no.
How was the crowd? Did they say that she got booed out of the building? Or did
my gosh, it was so bad. Like, she should have known better. I don't know what she was thinking. She just doesn't care.
There was really funny, like where you come out of the entranceway, right where you get to the ring on the corner, the very corner of the chair was literally the biggest Ohio State fan I've ever seen in my life, and I mean that by like, I mean, he was just a big dude, you know, and he had this huge Ohio State jersey on. She come out and he saw her and he was like, yeah. And then when you see, he reads it, he's like, oh, like he's heartbroken. He's like, yeah, oh. He just kind of goes down. He's
That
like,
poor guy.
oh man. You know, because he just like his whole world's
He's like, this little girl just gave me the beating of my lifetime without even doing anything to me.
Yeah, I know somewhere it's on video, but she's coming out and she's doing her thing, and he's like, you can see the colors, you just can't see the bedazzled I hate Ohio State on the front. And he's just like, that girl right there is the best. What does her shirt say? What the hell? Oh, he just kind of melts like, oh man.
It's like, gotta put that in a meme. It's like, hello, darkness, my old friend. It's owned. What's it like? Grand Theft Auto. It's like failed.
Yes, that's awful.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I saw that, and at first I just saw the Ohio State, and I said, "Oh," I did the same thing. Oh, I said, "That's over. That's it's just getting heat." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing. But back to Pittsburgh. So I won't even say I'm a Ravens fan because I was like NFL football at one point, but I'm more like into college as far as experience, and I'll watch the Super Bowl, whatever. But I've probably been to more, and I know it's not probably. I have been to more Pittsburgh Steelers game than any other NFL team, and I've went to several. I'm talking a bunch of Cincinnati Bengals games, and I've been Ravens, but only because a person I knew, and this almost threw us up the other day at camp about Marshall playing tonight. Sometimes people come through with tickets, and I happen to know a guy that's a salesman and on a route and did West Virginia and Pittsburgh and all that, and every year, like, you're so and so, you're a subcontractor. I got you. So every year I get to go 2 or 3 fucking big Steelers games. I'm like, oh, this is nice, you know, Compton, whatever. But and I obviously I'm not the asshole sitting there wearing a Ravens or a Bengals or a Browns jersey, but I went and I enjoyed NFL football for what it was, because I'm looking at them guys going, these guys are fucking athletes. You know, they are athletes. They're studs, you know. And appreciate it for what it was. So, and that's me. I like that. Again, American League, the East Division up there. I like the AFC North. Sorry,
Yeah.
But you know, because used to, and I'm talking maybe 5-7 years ago, they were still ground and pound. They weren't doing 3-1. They wasn't doing West Coast offense. They'd have like a Lamar Jackson or, what I'm saying, these different quarterbacks and runners. And today's athletes just so fucking phenomenal. So they were still that ground and pound in the NFL. And so I still respect that. But now I will say this. I need to speak up about this. And like I said before we went on the show, Bubbles and Brock both understand Bobby talk. And that what I was getting at is with these athletes, the CTE, that's a real deal, So I'm glad that the game has changed. I do think this for a bunch. I won't say personally to these gentlemen and these athletes, but it's kind of become a pussified league, if you will. Let me touch this quarterback. Let's hands off here, whatever. And you want to see someone get hit. You want to fucking see a helmet on helmet. Yeah, that may have been, way back when, not nowadays. They know too much about the brain, and I don't want to see that.
Nope.
As much as I would love to say, I want to see someone get jacked, motherfucker. No. I want to see someone fucking live.
Exactly.
Live their dream and play at the professional level, whether it be wrestling, football, basketball, baseball, hockey, any contact sport, heading in soccer, whatever. Just saying, live, make their money, and also have a life outside their sport once they're done, because that's some real shit. And when you don't fucking know this and know that, and you're stumbling on this word and that word, and you're going, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just now remember something I was talking about 10 o'clock at night. They can both testify that. And you're going, well, I couldn't tell you what I had for lunch today, but, oh, yeah, you know what I did 2 weeks ago? So shit like that's real. So that's why, again, as much as you want to see the person get jacked in the NFL or whatever. And those guys are studs, like I said. But you also got like that's real. I understand why they do what they do.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole different thing. I wrote about that in my second book. Just bring it up. I think Will Smith, plug it. I know. Anal plug. Sorry.
Yikes. Elbow.
Sorry, watch it.
You went deep on that one.
Sorry, YouTube, Facebook.
Hello.
Please don't take.
You up here. Let me bring you up here. No, I just.
Puppet.
Let me think here. No, I just.
Like, no.
There was something about that. About
killing Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah's about to exit. You guys are disgusting.
No, I'm just saying, like, I put something in there about that Will Smith book. I think the Doctor's Maximum Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm drawing a blank on it. But you know the movie about the concussion.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that. It's real, and I wrote a little bit about it. And no, I'm not trying to do another cheap plug on a book. We got one in. I appreciate it. I was just saying I did write about that because I've seen it, and I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying I've kind of firsthand experienced it. And so, and I'll leave that at that because you guys said if you don't want to talk about anything, you don't have to. I brought it up, and now it's done. So,
okay.
So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? You guys can ask what you want about it, but you probably have seen it and read enough and understand it's a real deal.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, exactly.
I've got a question. If I can.
And I have two rules, real quickly. They know rule number 2. Don't fucking get hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I'm helping these people, I'm training people, I'm helping people, watching them have matches. I don't care what they're doing, whether it's baseball, football, basketball, or UFC, and then of course with our sport, professional wrestling, I do not, whether I'm watching them train or watching them have a live match, I don't want to see anyone get hurt. That hurts my heart, as we was talking about earlier. I don't want to see anyone get hurt, man, because they know my rule number 1. You can both tell them what rule number 1 is.
Don't die.
Don't fucking die.
Don't die.
That's my favorite word to say,
Isn't
right?
that, isn't that from a movie? I feel that's from a movie or something.
I don't know. Is it?
A quote from a movie.
For us, it's got double meaning.
Yeah, double
it has
meaning.
double
Thank
meaning.
you. Yeah, but
It
but
means,
don't die, man. I lost so many people the last 3 years. I'm like, God damn, please don't die. Just live another day, man. And that's me. Because I'm going to try to outlive a few motherfuckers, including myself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I said that to Geek in a random spot. I'm like, I think he coughed, or I'm like, don't die.
Yeah.
Or I say, Geek, before you last breath, please text me the code. The code for your side of the thing.
It's the code to all everything on Dudes at Ringside. All the codes,
I do it all the time. Like,
everything.
send me the link in your text messages.
Tell me that I need to know.
Like, or I'm gonna have to deal with our mod. Be like, I don't know. Damn it! Get the cord. Revive his candy ass. Tell me the code. What? What are you talking about? What happened? You saved my life, Joe.
I just need the code. Give me the code.
Just need the code. Just need the code, the passwords and everything.
All you want is the passwords, Joe? Are you some kind of Are you kind of a hacker? No.
So, I have a question for Joe and Geek. Since this is your all's 300th episode, what has been? You guys have a favorite guest?
Ooh. Yeah, Miss Bubbles. Of course, you know what?
Oh, look here.
It's Brock's.
Did
Brock's
you know,
and Bobby Blaze right here.
Come on, Bobby.
But right now, it's
this.
this.
Hit the bricks, bud. Come on.
This it's something because it's hard
About
to
time
say.
she got over.
Yeah.
But
what excited me most to getting you guys back, it's just like hearing the stories from Bobby Blaze and getting a chance to see Sarah Bubbles again, get a chance to hang out with Brock, because it's something, because it's independent wrestling. That's all I'm going to say. It's independent wrestling. That doing this with Geek, we always talked about wrestling and going to the shows, but we never had a chance to actually sit and chat for like an hour or like 30 minutes to wrestlers because they were always so busy. And now we have this, and it's just like, wow. People are sending us stickers, T-shirts.
and I know a few people that's been on your show. I won't bring up, but I have seen these two. I didn't see the one with Brox and Troy, but I've seen a couple of other young ladies that you've had on the show. That's great, man. And again, that's the thing I'm saying about supporting women wrestling, support indie wrestling. You get them exposed, and I don't mean that bad. I'm just saying, like, there's people I know personally. I don't know why the fuck they're laughing, but I'm not here to bury one. I'm just saying I have watched a few segments, and I appreciate what you're doing for independent wrestling and independent women wrestling. And I think it's just a matter of time where a few people do get those extra work and dark matches and work up, and you're going like, oh, I remember that person win. And that's what it's all about. Like when you're on someone early on and you like them, and you're like, I'm going to see this person. I want to see them succeed. I want to see them do their best. To me, I remember Pete in professional wrestling as a fan, I'd see people and I'm like, oh man, this guy's got a lot of talent. I can't wait. And then I'd see him on NWA and I'm like, oh shit. And I'm not current NWA, I'm the old school. Then I'm watching someone from a territory like Memphis that I grew up on, going, oh fuck, they made it to WWF back then. So like, that to me was like, I saw them in person, I saw them in magazines, and they was doing this little local Continental or local ICW, which was the Popo Zone, Randy Savage, Laney Popo, etc., or the old Memphis style. And had an uncle in Baltimore, and he was like, "Oh, that skinny champion down there, and he'd buried a Macho Man, or he'd talk about, oh, that fucking Jerry the King Lawler, who ever heard him?" And then to live and see them guys make it to WWF and WWE and become big stars, and I go, yeah, motherfuckers, I saw them win. And that's the thing about helping these young people out and training and getting to know some of these young up-and-coming rising stars. You're like, I knew them win. And that's what's happening to your show. You're going to say, I knew this girl. I saw your promo at the beginning, your opening bumper, a lot of girls on there and stuff. And you're going to say, man, we had that chick on a show. We had that guy on a show. And look at them now, And that to me is so cool. As long as they don't forget where they come from.
Yeah.
Like that,
yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
But to be fair, though, one of Bobby's biggest advices that he's ever given, one of the biggest pieces of advice he's given us, is when Vince signs you, forget every fucking thing I've told you.
Yeah,
forget everything I've told you. Do whatever Vince says. That's what he said.
Fucking shut up. Sign the fucking check. Forget what the fuck I told you. And I learned that from Rip Rogers. And he's had like 54 fucking people make it to WWE or whatever. Yeah, forget everything I fucking told you. Sign your goddamn contract. Collect your money and do what the fuck you're told. And that's that. Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
And, that's it.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And that's
it's like.
Could you imagine being with this guy every week, twice a week?
Oh God,
it's the best, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. We get Bobby Blaze stories all the time.
That's like Geek. We'd be like, Geek, is there enough room on your phone service? Would you get any more stories? Like keep following him. Keep pushing the record button, Geek. Keep pushing the record button.
It's always something.
Whatever
man.
you want. You want to? I think you all wanted to ask me about Dean Malenko earlier.
Oh yeah. Go on. Talk about Dean.
I'll bring it up. Well, luckily. Unfortunately for me, Sarah and Brox, we got to see Dean a few weeks ago. I don't know when it was, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks. I don't know. My mind, I don't think it's there. It was last month, or it was a replacement, and they got to come to town. Arn Anderson and Dean come to town. I was so pumped that I got to see Dean because I hadn't seen Dean before before a hot minute. I've talked to Arn in the last year and saw him in person. But Dean and I go back a long ways. And I was training in Tampa, Florida with Professor Boris Malenko, Dean's dad. And Dean has an older brother, Joe Malenko, who trained with the great Carl Gotch. And they do the shoot fighting and this and that. And I'd been on tour with Joe Malenko and Dean Malenko over in Australia. And they used to, sometimes I get to stick around when I was getting ready to go to a tour in Japan. And Malenko, the coach, my mentor, my trainer, he said, Bobby, you and Rico care, stick around, work with my boys some. They're getting ready to go to Japan. I'm like, fucking, I'm honored. I wouldn't say it that way, but I said, yes, sir, Miss Malenko, whatever, And they'd get in and do this and do that. And I'd learn a tackle on this side. How do you do it? because you're doing this, this, and this. And they're going, here's the right way. And they're the best craftsmen in the business, bar none. So after about 4 months, Larry, or Professor Malenko, he was started having a couple of health problems, and myself and another guy named Rico Federico, we were like getting really advanced, kind of like these two are in classes, and I say it humbly and respectfully because they are. And you're like, so Dean's gonna come back because he'd been over to Japan quite a bit, and he goes, my son's gonna come in and work with you too. And I was like, oh my God. Because I've seen Dean work. They had VHSs from Japan at the time. And I'm like, oh, fuck, why this guy on TV in the United States? Because he had a big contract in Japan at the time. So when Dean came back and started training myself and another gentleman personally and professionally, man, I got to get in the ring with Dean and do this and do that. And Dean and I, and we traveled. We had TVs in Sarasota before I was living in Tampa. We had TVs in Sarasota, and we'd done all these independent shows. And Dean would pick and select the shows he would do locally to help his dad out and help the promotion out, etc. And we got real close. But that's his dad. And when I spoke to Dean a few weeks ago, Dean and I spoke several times very quietly. Publicly, we was hearing this and that, and I, waited for him to eat, and real respectful. But Dean and I had this relationship, and I'll go back to what we talked about just a couple weeks ago. I got to WCW, and I went to see Dean. I'd been to shows before in the back before I had my tryout, so I'd seen Dean and Eddie and Chris, and I knew all these guys. Traveled with them, been in Australia with them, been on independent shows with them in Florida, etc. But Dean and I, we developed this weird relationship. You be at an airport, you see someone enough, and you got this personal relationship with this one gentleman, and maybe even his brother, etc. And that's his dad. And we'd be in an airport like, hey, Dean, man, I love you. Hey, Bobby, I love you. And Dean wasn't ever that loud, but again, walking by like, and we'd be also the kind of, fuck you. Hey, Bobby, fuck you. Fuck you, Dean. And I knew he meant I loved you. So we could be having a coffee, going to different flights, me going to Cincinnati, Charlotte, or Pittsburgh, him getting somewhere back to Tampa, because I come back to different airports. We're passing. Fuck you, Dean. Well, fuck you, Bobby. Or fuck you, Bobby. And I'm like, I love you too, Dean. Because we had this unique relationship. And we get to the building, and they go, man, you got heat with Dean? Like, are you fucking kidding? If I ever have heat with Dean, me and you's got a problem if you don't get where I'm going. Because we get to the locker room, and we just saw each other 2 or 3 nights ago, like, give each other a hug. Love you, man. Good seeing you. Yeah, I passed you the other day. Yeah, fuck, yeah. Whatever. So that was kind of where it's at. Very respectful. So when I saw Dean a few weeks ago, when he made an appearance here, Dean, back to WCW. I went that night and I said, here's what they're offering. And I was in Charlotte for a tryout. Terry Taylor brought me in, and Paul Orndorff and Kevin Sullivan had already talked to me about a job before I even got hired there. So it's all these negotiations and this and that in this business. Like Arn said, and I tell these two, we're just two gentlemen discussing business. When I first night I come to WCW, I didn't have a contract, and that's what Arn told me. And I told him it's down to Time Warp. Big shout out to Time Warp as well, guys, just so you know, it's one of our sponsors. And Arn said, well, why wouldn't I be nice to you, Bobby? We was just brothers. We were professionals that night, And I was like, yeah, exactly. So people get it. But back to Dean, I went to him and I said, this is what they're offering. And he goes, how many dates? And I told him, he goes, Bobby, how much you making now? I told him. It was respectable. On the independent scene, Smoky Mountain just finished up, but I was on TV and going to Japan. So anyway, I was making money, but not what that WCW's on, not Ted Turner money. And he goes, Bobby, what would Dad say? I turned around, I said, fuck. I went right to Terry Taylor. I said, Terry, where's the contract? What I got to do? And he told me, do this, this, and this, and I'll see you in an hour. Like, okay. So I had enough respect for Dean to even ask him. And I also went to Sean Waltman, who's a Malenko student as well. And so, when Dean and I saw each other a few weeks ago, and we spoke under our breath and talked and this and that. And when he talked, but we started talking. We both about teared up. We kind of ended it there at one point. About he'd been there and the line died down a little bit, and I was like, hey, Dean, and I said, man, I just want to tell you, I get it, and I want to say thank you for sharing your dad with me, because I stayed there some, and Dean was already off on his own. He was a young adult. I'm a young adult. There's a couple years difference between our ages. We won't get into that. And Malenko is close to my age now, give or take a couple of years, just saying. And like we shared that person, and I said, but and I mentioned a couple other guys. I won't go into detail here. And I said, but he was like a father figure to so many others as well. And I always appreciate and respected how you handled that. Because at one time you may not have handled it the best, because you're sharing your dad with all these fans, and then you're sharing your dad with all these guys he's trained. And we both like, and we like kayfabe. We shut it down, and I said, yeah, Dean, and we just changed the whole fucking subject because we started getting a little bit deep, but we had that connection. And once again, I hugged him, told him I loved him, he loved me, whatever. And I said, hey, the line's coming, I'll see you in a few minutes. And I just went back and sat down. But we shared that moment, and I don't forget those things. I cherish them, But Dean taught me so much. Try this, try that, watch this, watch that. Pick out, get you to where you can do 12 to 15 things and do them really fucking good. Take those 12 to 15 things, get about 8 to 10, do this, and then get you 5, get you 3, and be an expert at those, and make those, get in that match, and I tell these folks here that, get those things in, get your shit into that match. And if I get them in, and if Bubbles gets hers in, or I get them in, and Brock gets his in, that's 6, 8, 9 things, and it makes up the whole match. The rest of it can be walk and talk. Here's your finish. Here's your start. Here's your finish. Let's go. And the fans appreciate it, respect it, and hopefully they tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on, and they make it even more people at the next show because they bought into, well, fuck, did you see that finish? He was out there bad-mouthing FTC, then the owner, and then our trainer, and then what the fuck? Our trainer comes out and beats him. What? Boom. That's what you work for. And all those things I learned from Dean and old school wrestling and just being an old fuck myself, if you will. But, so training under Dean, how can I not learn to be and do some of the stuff I used to be able to do? And I could do a lot of stuff. That's not bragging. Again, I'll go back to not to toot my own horn, but toot, toot. Thank you, Buddy. How much did I learn from Buddy? How much have I learned from Arn? How much have I learned from Cornette? How much have I learned from Dean Malenko? Here's my rant, is this. This is the way I felt, especially after COVID, when COVID was going on, rather. I looked at my couch, and I looked at my chair, and I said, there's nothing going on that couch. There's nothing going on this chair. When this thing unlocks or we get the fuck back out, I'm giving to and giving back to something I love, and that's professional wrestling. And I've always been a big believer in pay it forward. And I said, I'm paying it forward through professional wrestling, had these opportunities to do so. So with that said, I said to myself, it would be a disservice to have all this knowledge from all these people I've learned from, Malenko, Cornette, etc., and have all this world travel, Australia, Japan, England, South Africa, etc., Canada, U.S. If I'm sitting here, if I don't share that, not only am I doing a disservice to someone that wants to learn our craft, learn our business, and are serious, and wants to put the time and effort. Because I tell these folks, no one's twisting your arm, no pun intended. No one's smacking your ass, telling you you have to go here. They go because they want to. They have a love and a passion for something I do that we have in common. That's professional wrestling. So I said to myself, not only would I be a disservice to anyone that wants to learn our craft or learn our business, I'd be doing a disservice to myself to have this knowledge. It'd be like having that candle in the middle of the room and letting it shine, or putting a fucking cup over it. I don't want a cup over my candle. I want that motherfucker to shine. And back in the day, and I probably still do it, and I'm probably getting too old to do it, and this is old, just letting you know. Some people say you light your candle, and you got that one little wick, and it's burning. And some people say, man, you're burning your candle at both ends. Both ends of that candle. You know what I do? I take a flamethrower to that motherfucker. Whoo! And I fucking live.
Yeah.
Melt that motherfucker down and live and give back to something I love.
Yeah.
Well, how's that?
That's great.
Definitely.
That's
Some of
great.
that may be stolen material.
Yeah.
But
Oh, there you
creative liberties have been taken.
I didn't hear nothing. I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, what do you hear? What do you say? What do you hear? What do you say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's
Bobby
really,
Blaze made it up.
What?
it's really cool to hear. It's cool to hear those Bobby stories for me personally, because like I've always told people, like, what Bobby teaches is the old school and the sprinkles and the why of wrestling. Like, it needs to make sense. There's no reason to get in there and have high spot matches. It's got to make sense. You got to tell the story. You got to pull the people in, right? So to hear Bobby talk about how he's worked with Dean and Dean's dad and Rip and all these people, and then that he puts all that into us, right? And then the people that we've got to work with too since we started the business. Like, we've had Melina come in and do a seminar with us. We've had Gangrel come in and do seminars. Scotty Tuhati. I don't know who else we've had. Mark. Daggone it. What's the girl's name, Bobby?
Shane and
Like,
Tommy and
Tommy Wildfire Ridge and Shane Douglas has been with us.
Yep.
I was talking about Mark Hawk. Mark
No,
Hawk.
I know you said girl I like. Don't be fucking kayfabe. God damn, I'm still trying to get laid.
But anyways,
Nah, just kidding.
but you know, and then of course, like I said,
Hi, Bubbles.
I've always mentioned
I know her
Dylan. I've always mentioned Dylan.
Didn't you have Rikishi?
Dylan, our trainers, huh?
Didn't you have Rikishi? I remember the time you said.
Yeah, we had Rikishi. We was on a show with Rikishi and stuff like that. And for this past show we had where Bobby won the title, Devon Dudley was there.
Oh, Devon.
As a replacement.
Class
all the
act, by the
hurricanes.
way.
Yeah.
What a great guy.
He's doing better at least. I'm glad. So glad he's doing
But
better.
he was able to come in with all the hurricanes and stuff. Some people canceled, but special moment for me and Titan Troy, who's a partner in Grappling Inc. now. Another guy that you guys needed to really watch. Phenomenal wrestler. Really, he carries the team. I'll be honest with you. But he was. We were just showing him some things we do.
Is he coming for your belts too?
He's tried a couple times already, man. You know what I'm saying? He's my boy. He's my boy, but it is what it is. But we were showing Devon just some things we do in a tag team match, just together. You know, some of our tag things we do together. And total geeking out moment for me. Devon says, "Can I give you a pointer?" Yeah, the ring on your finger, and the many times you've been a tag team champion, and all over the place. Yeah, go ahead, dude. It's cool. Give me a pointer, please. Give me a pointer on something to do with a tag team match. You know. So yeah, we got. You know, he gave us a few pointers on something we do in a match, and we actually. I didn't have a tag match that night, but the way it worked out, he came out in the match, and we actually got to do that thing we showed Devon with. It's a monkey flip senton is what we do. It's very cool. It's I start in the corner. Cool. He monkey flips me into a senton on top of someone.
Oh, geez.
Super simple, but super cool, you know. And he gave us a pointer into it, and we done it that night. And when I rolled up, and he and I are standing next to each other in the ring, I looked at him and I said, "That Devon guy knows what the hell he's talking about." And Troy laughed real hard. He said, "I think so." But it all goes back. It's all that stuff. I mean, you know, we're getting stuff that Bobby was taught. He said last night, "I won't teach everything that I know, but I'll teach everything that you know." So we're getting all that stuff that Bobby teaches us, and that he got from the people he was trained by, and the people we've got to meet along the way. And here at FTC and the Art of Grappling, we're really fortunate to have the people we've had. Pure professionals across the board. And there's not a lot of schools you can go to and say, you know, I've got to talk and be in a ring with, you know, Jillian Hall, Bobby Blaze, Gangrel, you know, we had Eric Redbeard here one time, Rikishi, Scotty Tuhati, Melina, Tommy Wildfire. That's a list, and that's just a few names. Like, if I sit and thought about it for a minute, you know, we've had Tony Atlas here. We've had Cowboy Bob Orton has been here to do some signings and talk to us. Kane has been here, done a signing here with us locally. We have been really fortunate to have who we have here, thanks to FTC's owner Joe Pace and Time Warp, our main sponsor, Earl over at Time Warp. But It's just it's all is what's made FTC and the Art of Grappling what we are is the beginnings with just Jillian, and then when Bobby came around after he got done talking to his couch and his chair, after he got done talking to those guys, and he came back in, and then they worked together for a long time, and then she got too cold and moved back to Florida, which all love for Jillian. No, I love Jillian to death.
Jillian, you're a nice person.
I love Jillian.
Awesome.
We heard a lot of good stuff about her. We heard a lot of things.
I joke with some of the new students that we have. I tell them, you're lucky you have this version of Bobby, because I've heard stories about how Bobby used to train. And they're lucky they have this version of Bobby. But some of the new students we have wouldn't survive Jillian Hall.
No,
like
geez.
as much as I love her and as much as she's put into my career to make me what I am. And again, nothing against you, Bobby. You know that we've had a conversation. Jillian's a main component of what I am.
And I'll say this, and this before she left, and again, it just got too cold up here. She decided to go back to Florida. It is what it is, whatever. There's no heat between Jillian and myself. Nothing but respect there, personally and professionally. But I told her, and Sarah, maybe you had just started. You'd been there a little while. And some of the other students that had been there since December, because I didn't come until March. I knew I was coming out. I just didn't know when, because my ass was glued to the chair and COVID was going on, and the couch kept speaking to me, like you said, whatever. I told her after a few weeks, I said, I just hope you know how much each of these students care for you and respect you. And she questioned me. She goes, really? And I go, yeah, they do. I said, I can tell how much they love, respect you, they care for you. And she goes, I just wonder if I was doing things right. And I go, well, you have. And the thing about that is, and I'll say this, and I'm not here trying to, kiss up to anyone, brag to anyone, toot their fucking horn. I'm just saying, when I told her that, and she took it, and I meant it, and I see what she done with some of those earlier students, she done a fucking tremendous job. And I have to say, man, she got a lot out of people, and I respect that, the way she trained each and every one of you all. So there's no heat there. I'm not saying it to suck up. That stuff I've told her to her face. And I'm the kind of guy, and I think you all know this, more likely I won't say it if I have to bite my tongue, but if I fucking have to say something, it's because I mean it, And I'm not saying it to waste fucking words or whatever. I'm saying it. I don't put the F's in there for shock value. It's just the way I talk. But she done a tremendous job with you guys, and I appreciate and respect that to this day, because I see that still. But also I have to agree, there's several people that probably wouldn't survive way back then. And with me, when I used to be a little bit different than I am now, maybe mellowed with age, if you will. No, I don't know. I'm still probably a badass trainer. Sometimes when I say, you motherfucker, then I'll say, okay, I called you that because you have to get this. Yeah. Get in the ring. Get back in here. Don't you fucking quit, Get in here, and I push you. But it has changed over time. But that becomes with the passion for the business, because I want to see people do good with this business. And I want to hopefully see people succeed in this business. And one day someone will say, hey, man, I love this business. I want to pay it forward. I want to give back to, and that's what I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, man. And like I said, I'm just trying to outlive a few more people, including myself. And it's the one thing in my life that I've always loved and cared for. And I tell these people, dudes at ringside, congratulations, number 300. I just want to say, boom, boom, boom. But I tell them this, and I mean it sincerely. And I just told someone this non-wrestling related. I want to say it was yesterday, but it could have been fucking 2 days ago. Who knows? I'm just saying I've said this. I said on that podcast with Dave Lucas, if you saw that for Ohio, there, OU, whatever. As much as Brox and Bubbles and the rest of the students think that I give them, I get back so much more. I get back when I'm sincere in saying this, and I take great pride in saying this. I get back more than what I give. and I give 100% and I give every goddamn thing I got. So when I say I get more back from giving, it's 100% fucking true, man. And everything I've got in this world is because I've taken one hand and I reached out and helped someone else, and someone else will take another hand. They reached out and helped me, and I've paid it forward where I've said thank you. And it's a brotherhood, sisterhood. It's a union. I know there's no union wrestling. This ain't a union of love and passion for professional wrestling. And everything I've given, I've gotten back and then some. And that to me is the best feeling ever. Whether it's walking out in the curtains and the fans are coming down on you, you're on a fucking pay-per-view, or you're live, or you're doing a podcast. Sometimes you just come home and you got a pizza and a soda, or a pizza and a beer, or a slice and a beer, and you're going, man, tonight, this is what it's all about. I saw those people bust their ass in the ring, or I went to a show, and we've ridden to a show together before with both of these young folks here, and I got them in a goddamn parade. I'll be thankful for that. That's a whole different story. But anyway, just saying, we've ridden in the same car, and you're like, you come home at night, it's just you, your TV, your couch, your chair, whatever, and you're going, man, today was a good fucking day. I saw them go out there and have a fucking killer match, and this match was good. This match was good. This match was great. This match was phenomenal, and it fucking made a great show, and you come home and go, man, I give back to that gladly every fucking day. I step 3 or 4 jacked up like, what a fucking show, and that's, to me, I get more out of it. I probably need more sleep because I'm so jacked up afterwards. But that's what I'm saying. When you give something away like that, you don't lose anything. You can give away love. You don't lose anything. You get it back. You know what I'm saying? You can give away fucking kindness. It doesn't take it. Bobby Eaton was one of the persons that told me this way back in 1998, and I've known Bobby since 1988.
Wow.
One of the greatest guys in professional wrestling. He won the first professional wrestling I met. And we was in Canada together shooting a sports video for EA Sports, and he goes, man, it doesn't take anything to be nice to people. And my whole mentality changed the moment he told me at a restaurant one night. And I was like, why the fuck you been to this guy? And this? He goes, it doesn't take anything, Bobby, to be nice to someone. And I was like, oh, shit. And it's true. So you got love, kindness. You give those away, you gain from it. You don't give it away and not get it back. Gratitude, Today, and I choose these different things every day. It's kind of weird. But today on my list was gratitude. That's what I chose. I still have love and kindness and acceptance, forgiveness, whatever. But gratitude was on my list. That was my thing today. And I was like, you think I'm not thankful I have a roof over my head, or a bed to sleep in, or this and that, food to eat, whatever it is, for this podcast, for these people here, their kindness? That's what it's about. You can give away, but you get back. And I don't ever go out there going, if I give this away, I'll get this back. If I give that guy, no, the world don't work like that. What the world works like is you give, and don't give till it fucking hurts. Give till it fucking helps, and you've done something. That's that.
There you go.
There you
So I don't know how much time you guys got, but I do have one more great Bobby Blaze story.
Okay.
All right, we can do it. Go ahead.
So I talked about Bobby being a different type of trainer than Jillian, and a lot of the new guys wouldn't survive Jillian. She was a lot more rough than Bobby was. But the greatest thing that Bobby Blaze has ever done for me is kick me out of the fucking ring one night. So Bobby hadn't been with AOG from the COVID stuff very long. And he knows, we've talked about it. We sure. Actually, this is what started this whole love affair for me from Bobby Blaze anyways. But
nothing but respect.
He had said something. He said something in the ring to the effect of, I'll give you guys credit when you earn it. And I made the comment to myself because Bobby didn't really understand me at the time. I am my hardest critic. Everybody that's in this room that's on this side that knows me knows that I'm my hardest critic. I'm harder on me than anybody else could ever be. And so Bobby made the comment, I'll give you guys credit when you earn it, or when you get it, when you do something to get it. And I said, well, I guess I'll never get it then. Talking about me, because I was frustrated that night about something I wasn't doing right in the ring. And I guess he had heard something different, or thought that I was talking about him opposed to myself. and we kind of butted heads like men do.
And we were both athletes, because I know you played
Yeah.
softball and basketball, and I expected more from you. That was the other thing. I had respect for you as an athlete.
Right.
So,
And
anyway, go ahead.
And the testosterone, it's a testosterone filled sport. We butted heads. So a few minutes later, I'm in the ring, and he's showing me how to do a move, and I questioned it, which, Bobby's cool with you questioning anything. He's okay with talking anything out. But on that night, especially with me, he was just like, this motherfucker's questioning Bobby Blaze, And now, to his defense, if we're in the ring and a new student says something and questions Bobby don't really have much time to say anything to him, because I'm normally like, shut the fuck up, Bobby Blaze is talking. You don't talk to Bobby Blaze. Like, it's me that's on him now.
Yeah.
But I was that guy, and because I was a Jillian guy. Bobby had been there just a few weeks, and I was on Team Jillian, because that's how I seen it. Or not really seen it, but that's just Jillian started with me, so I was kind of on Jillian there, and I didn't know much about Bobby, to be honest with you. So he said, "You know what? Get the fuck out of the ring." I said, "What?" He said, "Get the fuck out of the ring." I said, "All right, motherfucker, I'll get out of the ring." I rode out of the ring, and I was madder than hell, and I was like, "Fuck this, fuck that," and I was mad, And I sat there and I stayed mad for the longest time. I don't think I got back in the ring that night because I was told to get the fuck out. So I was like, "All right, fuck, I'm out." So he walked, everybody's done for the night. He's walking out. And I'm like, you know what? That ain't going to go down like this. I followed him out the door. And I said, "Bobby, let's talk about this for a minute. Let's me and you understand each other real quick," or whatever it was. And he said, "Let's do that. We're goddamn men. Let's do it." And we sat there, and I won't tell you everything that was said, and it doesn't really matter. But we had a man-to-man conversation. And to this day, I will tell you, the best thing that's ever happened in my career has revolved around Bobby Blaze. It's because he kicked me out of the ring and gave me a check on my attitude, or whatever it was that night, or the misunderstanding, whatever it started with. But he kicked me out of the ring, and he let me sit down. He let me track him down and talk to him, because he seen the passion. He seen the fact that I wanted to learn something, and he didn't understand me, and I didn't understand him.
Yeah.
But that night, we got the understanding. And then the respect came over the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Of
And that
our-
was
of our
twofold. I thought Anthony was saying one thing to Jillian and one thing to me or whatever, and Brock's. What I was getting at. But I didn't realize he had already spoken to Jillian about something. He was being hard on himself. It wasn't towards me. It wasn't disrespectful to me. He was just speaking out. I'm like, well, fuck, man, I'm just trying to help you here. But that happened. And so he was his toughest critic. And then the other thing was this, and this is true, and Bubbles, you can attest to this. I told Anthony and Brock's this, and that's the art of communication, or trying to get everyone together on the same page, or what I can't at the time, and you can figure out the names or whatever. I'm not going to drop names. I can't speak to you like I do an 18-year-old fucking cheerleader just out of high school. I can't speak to you like a 25-year-old, because I have a son fucking 25-year-old. I can speak to you. You're a grown-ass man. And I knew he had played sports. And I respected that. He still was out there playing softball and basketball and those things, and learning this craft. And I said, so how I'm talking to you is like a grown-ass man. You're 29, and I'm 39 now. Just bullshit. But anyway, saying, how can I talk to a 29-year-old man like I do a 19-year-old girl? You know what I'm saying? You can't, because that 19-year-old girl, she's still back there fucking cheerleading. This girl's still doing this. That guy's still doing this. This guy's never lived outside of his mama's basement. But this is a grown-ass man that's fucking grown, has a career, and still plays these sports and is very athletic. So when I saw that, I'm speaking to him from that perspective. So once we decided that, and I'm not kissing his ass, he's not kissing mine, I'm just saying it's life. And that's when, and I don't talk to Sarah the same way I talk to other people, because I respect her. When she started talking those interviews we was talking off the air, I said, damn, this girl gets her. Give her these fucking bullet points. She's going to take it away. Boom, boom, boom. So now she understands the art of an interview or a promo, etc. And back to Brock's there, once he understood, like, yeah, we're grown-ass fucking men. You're only talking to me that's the way you should talk to me. And I'm like, listening to him going, well, now I know it wasn't towards me, because you're being your own harshest critic. At least you see the athletic ability you have, you see you can do this. It was a misunderstanding. We got it all straightened out. There's nothing but love and respect now. But, you know, it's how you talk to, speak to, communicate with other people. That's what had happened. I saw more. I expected more. And that's what happened. And now we have more. He's so respected. Both of these folks are so respected in our locker room. They've learned so much about professional wrestling and also about teaching and coaching, because they both are teachers and coaches. And I see it and I hear it, and I see the people gravitating to them. That sometimes I think, motherfucker, if you knew. But when I start to say something, Anthony's already turning her ass like, shut the fuck up and sit down. Or Sarah's like, you got 2 ears and one mouth, sit down. And I'm like, oh, thank you, because I don't have time for that, because I've already been through that. I've been through it years ago. Now I'm going through it again. But at least I got two people that go, hold on, I got this, Bobby. I'm like, whew, thank you. But it's true. That's the way it happens, you know. And I know we're getting close on time, whatever. If you want one more good story or whatever, Anthony or Brox, thank you for sharing that with me.
Kayfabe broken.
Yeah, bro. Hey, I'll break the fourth fucking wall. You know what I'm saying? But hey,
that's why I did this. That's why I did this.
Yeah, there you go, man.
No.
Whatever. Just saying.
Brock, oh no.
Sometimes Joe breaks the kayfabe and calls me by my real name. So it's like,
you
Joe,
watch
what the
our
hell are you doing?
First
It's your
episodes, I used
300
to call the
episode.
L
You can do
word.
whatever the fuck you want. It's your episode. Congratulations on 300. You know, Sarah, please be quiet over there, would you? God damn.
I can't get a word in. I can't. I've been trying all night, boys. I've been trying all night.
Well, it's kind of funny, Sarah. Like, I was at work and I was like, yeah, we're going to have Sarah on this episode. And what song comes on in my freaking store? And I told the guy I work with, and he's like, oh, geez, you're an 80s boy. I'm like, she wasn't even raised in the 80s, but the song Sarah came on.
I was
and
just
I'm
like, fucking Hall Nose had to fucking come on probably or something. What
yes, the song Sarah.
Yeah, like
Jeez.
what?
The radio song.
She was just barely born in the 80s, wasn't she?
I wasn't born in the 80s. Brox, you shut your mouth. I was not born in the 80s.
I said you were just barely born in the 80s. I wasn't sure. I don't know.
I was not.
That Sarah song came on, and that day when we first got her on the podcast, I'm like, I gotta find a freaking song because I'm Mr. DJ.
Who was Hall Nose? Who sang that? Was Hall
Yeah,
Nose?
it was radio. I think it's a radio or something like that.
Commodores? Who the fuck sang it? I don't know.
All I know
Look
is
it
that
up. Let us
song.
know, Sarah. Look it up.
All I know
I'm
is
thinking
that
of something
song.
else.
And I used to get teased because that song when I was a little boy, because there was a girl I really liked named Sarah, and my song come on, and my mom's like, Randy, it's that song. It's your song with her. I'm like,
Who the fuck's Randy?
Who's Randy?
Huh?
Who's Randy?
We don't need to
Kayfabe,
practice
Joe,
Randy.
kayfabe.
Yeah, I would get teased. Like, leave me alone, Sarah.
Who was
ew.
it, Sarah?
Is it Jefferson Starship?
I think it's Jefferson.
Is it? Miracle's one of my favorite songs by them.
Yeah, but if I gotta remember the name of the band, but it was like
Sarah. Was that from like 1980? No,
Yes.
that's Jane. I'm thinking Jane from Jefferson Starship.
I'm not gonna sing it because I don't want to hit by a copyright. It's like Sarah. Only thing is Sarah.
Don't worry, Joe. I think we've been hit by copyright strikes before.
We'll figure
that
it
won't
out.
be it out. We'll figure it
Instagram
out.
hates me by now. They're like, this little freaking idiot keeps putting songs. You know you can't.
That's gimmick infringement, you fuckers.
We got a freaking copyright strike from last March, and we're like, what? As soon as Meta took over Instagram, they're like, oh, you're the motherfuckers that keep using all these songs. Your ass is getting an email, bitch.
Yeah.
Cease and desist, you know.
Hit you with the Chris Rock, like, ha, you gonna fuck around, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, that's it, man. And the more you fuck around, the more you find out.
Yeah.
That's what
More
happens.
emails you'll get. And I
Yeah.
get the emails. Geek doesn't get the emails. I'm like,
Oh, I get the email. I get the emails, but on the YouTube side.
Oh, okay.
oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy that Brox and I are 10 years apart. 10 years. Like, that's easy math. Math is hard, but that's easy math. He still can't remember what year I was born.
All right, for the record, Brox doesn't care. All right.
I know. I know.
Hey,
Not even a little bit.
I don't
He's
either.
He doesn't
kayfabe in the
care.
heel.
All right, listen,
Uh-huh.
the little people sometimes matter. Not all of them. It is what it is.
We're
Listen,
us little people do.
You're a little person too, Brox.
I just meant like the little people in life, not in
People
stature.
in glass houses should not throw stones. So
Listen, it's not a stature thing. It's a
Mom and Dad
It's a,
fighting, Joe.
It's a
What? Mom and Dad are fighting again.
Mom and Dad. I hate it when Mom and Dad fight. Stop.
I know
Then later
your
on-
real fight, not the one you tell everyone. So
That's
later
how,
on,
That's
yeah.
how it happens around here. When me and Bubbles are into it, people are like, "Mom and Dad are fighting, and we don't like it." Because we have a student. We do have a student that calls Bubbles Mom.
shut up.
Wait,
Don't
I
even.
promise.
Oh my gosh.
Is that
I'm
a
not gonna say
creepy?
who it is. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying there's
Is that a
student
creepy
here.
thing he calls her mom, or is
He
it like
calls her
uh-oh?
mom, and it's
What?
not. It's
Oh,
not
what
in
did
that
you say?
way.
Wait, stop. Everybody stop. Joe, what did you say?
Is it like, do you not like? You could tell them you don't like being called that. That's like,
I could, but he won't understand that.
oh, is he like, you know?
We'll talk about it later, Joe.
Okay, no, I'm just saying. I don't want to sound like I'm being mean. You know, we'll talk about.
You're
it later.
not.
We can cut this part out.
Yeah, we will. Cut it.
Editing. Thank goodness it's not live.
We can.
Get that Randy guy to cut this out. 'Cause whoever the hell
Yeah,
that guy is.
Whoever that is.
Randy.
Yeah, I'll beat that guy's ass later. He's annoying.
Wait, we can cut this part out?
Yes, hopefully you can.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe Lance can do it.
Yeah, that guy Lance.
Who's Lance?
He's that slave that sits behind the computer and Joe's just like, just make an episode. Yeah. Hey, girly, what up?
Bob's done, man. He's like,
sending
I'm
dead
done.
Oreos.
Past our bedtime.
Yeah,
listen.
sending dead pictures of Orioles to Show Pony. She's blocking Joe. You jerk.
Yeah.
Just a
Man,
jerk.
y'all leave her alone, man. She's a good girl.
No, I will not. I will not.
You want to see something real special?
What's so
Watch
funny is
Floyd
that was none of that was
do a
intentional.
match.
It just
We
happened.
should have. Oh my God, another match you two need to get. You and Show. I'm talking in my camera, but I'm looking away. You guys need to do like a 3 stages of hell match. You and her. You should need
I
to
have
do
no
like
idea what that is.
3 stages of hell. That
2 out of 3 falls. 2 out of 3 falls.
But you can make different stipulations every fall.
Yeah, every match is different. So like
Yeah.
the first match would be tables, ladders, and chairs, and then the second match would be, just a ladder match itself, or you know what I'm saying. You just do something.
Usually starts a
Get them
wrestling match.
bitches in a cage.
Yeah, and the last stage could be a cage match.
Cage
Boom.
match. Build up to the cage match. You know?
Cage match is
Hell
always the
yeah.
best part.
And they both
Very-
would do very good at either of those.
Indie wrestling cage
Maybe
matches are
five.
awesome.
I feel like this is less about wrestling and more about watching two blondes duke it out.
Maybe.
Here's the thing. I have special pull with the promoter at FTC, so you guys might just get your wish. I might may try to make that happen.
Hopefully it's on YouTube because I definitely. Hey, if you ever looking for any guest commentary, Bobby.
I don't do anything but train people. I don't,
Bobby
have-
always says,
I don't know
see the
nothing.
promoter.
Okay.
As
Bobby-
they know.
Say it.
My answer is this: see the promoter.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I don't fucking know. See the promoter.
That's saying,
That's his
I
Talk to the
find every-
talk to the promoter, Joe. That's what you gotta do.
I
Bobby,
get
you can
yelled
put that
at
into
by
a shirt.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
I need to do that. Yeah, get that shirt. So
I think what we
one
should do-
final story will go with. You want me to go up that one final story? Go ahead, Brock. Sorry.
I just say what we should do is put just a whole package together for him, commemorating the 300. Put a shirt in for me and Bubbles and Bobby and the books. Maybe I'll cover the books if need anything. I got some stickers and
Yeah, we'll do it.
we'll do
on the
something. We'll put a
wall
little
right
package
here.
together.
Get the address. We'll put together a package after Saturday, Anthony. We'll do that.
Yeah, not
yeah.
the same kind of package that you're thinking about, Joe.
Yeah.
It won't be our dick in a box or nothing.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
It'll be
so real quickly, where's that
a
come
restraining
from?
order from Sarah from
There
to
you
Joe.
go. Yeah. Hell, I don't know. See the promoter. So here's the story. It's in the book. I told this person in person the story. So it goes back several years ago. I'm trying to break into the professional wrestling business. Jerry Lawler told me one time, I was talking to him in Lexington at the Rupp Arena, and I was like, man, how you get into this business and this and that? And he just looked over nonchalantly. And he was going to wrestle Jesse the Body Ventura that night with the San Diego Chicken in his corner, and Jimmy Hart in the other corner with the Body. And so anyway, that's a whole different story. But basically, Lawler said, see the promoter, kid. It blew me off. No big deal. But the second time it happened, real big deal. I'm at the Huntington Civic Coliseum, or Huntington Civic Center, rather. And myself, my uncle, my brother are there. and it's getting ready to be intermission. We just watched the match, and we kind of know we're kind of smart, but we're not. And I hate to say smart, Mark, because we're not, because this is way before kayfabe was broken, blah blah blah. But we had an idea how a show ran, and so we said that's probably intermission. So we get up and go right when they're saying it's intermission. We run back, and there's a table blocking where the wrestlers are at and where the fans can come to, and the concession stands the dividing line. And they used to have these drinks in Huntington, West Virginia, called the Home of Marshall. Where your show pony's at, just so you know. Put her over, whatever. They had these double dribbles. They was 24-ounce beers in a cup off the draft. So my brother, my uncle, myself, we get around a corner, and there's The Rock, the original Rock, Don Morocco. And he just had picked up these 4 fucking double dribbles. So it's 4 24-ounce beers. And he gets them from the concession stand, and he turns and puts them on the table, the barricade blocking the back. Well, my brother, my uncle, myself are already there, as stated. And no fans have made it yet because we left before to get to the intermission spot. And, you know, we're big fans at the time. We kind of knew, like I said. And I'm like right to the table, hey, Morocco, how do you get into this business, man? And he put the 4 beers down, and he picks up not a 12, but a 24-ouncer, and he goes and kills it. And he goes, and let's rip the biggest fucking belcher burp as you could ever imagine. and he goes, hell, I don't know. See the promoter. And he picked up the other 3 beers and turned around. Well, my brother and my uncle, we roll. We started dying laughing. By that time, more fans were getting up there to the cutoff spot. And we were sitting there dying laughing at people. What's so funny? What's so funny? We can't even fucking laugh. We can't tell them because it's that moment. So that's where I get, hell, I don't. So they'll know when I go to camp, I'll have me a beer. I'll rip a big one and say, hell, I don't know. See the promoter. So I get to go to Australia several years later, and I've written about this in my book. Pin me, pay me, have Boots Will Travel, get on Amazon, whatever. Follow me at Bobby Blaze at 744 on Instagram and on Twitter. Thank you. See, I got to get these into my story. I'm with Morocco. I see him on an airplane when I hook up in Hawaii. I flew from LA to Hawaii, and I said, that's Morocco. Give him the nod. We both know we're the boys, you know. So we get there a couple days into the tour. We're drinking beer after the shows. Everyone's getting along fine. It's a big tour. I wait till we're leaving for a building one day, and we're in a van, a hill van, and there's a seat between us. And so I said, if he's going to kill me, he's going to kill me. But I'm going to tell him that fucking story because I don't know how he's going to react to this. So he's up there in the passenger seat of the van, a seat between us, then myself and a couple of the guys behind me. And I say, hey, Morocco. And I tell him that story, right? And I think he might get mad or something because you know how people react. But he's pretty laid back, as you know. He's cool. And he turns around and goes, well, Bobby, that's a good story. You know what that means, don't you? I'm like, oh, fuck. And he goes, he just burped on impulse and said, we'll have to have a beer later this evening. And I said, all right, man. I reached over that seat and I shook his hand and I said, now I got my story, see? Because it just was, I don't know, 5, 6 years later. But that's where I get that from. So, hell, I don't know. Sarah Bubbles, Brock's Boulder, it's a pleasure to be here on the Dudes at Ringside podcast. You gentlemen, congratulations on 300. And all I know is this. See the fucking promoter.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Do you guys have anything you want to promote, like upcoming shows or anything, or are you going to be
No,
on?
I think we're done for the year. I'll always put over getting on Facebook or Instagram or any of the social media sites and checking out anything FTC has posted. We have a YouTube page, FTC Wrestling or the Art of Grappling, FTC's Art of Grappling on Facebook. Personally, I have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then I have a YouTube channel as well. All that's under Brock's Boulder. I'm the only one on the internet, I hope. But yeah, for me personally, I this is all I've got, guys. What are you, Bubbles? You?
Well, see, I was on time for the podcast, so I did mine at the beginning.
Ooh, ouch! I'm sorry. I'm such a big star. People want my time everywhere. I can't help that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Anyway, no, but I didn't know Brox and Bobby. You guys know more than I do. But did you want to talk about what we have coming up at the end of November?
Well, we could. I'm just gonna let Bobby plug that. But Bobby, go ahead, bring that up, buddy.
So I think the only big thing we have left, we're all going to WrestleCade. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We're going to be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Thank
Wow.
you, Time Warp, and thank you, FTC. That's both our sponsors. We've got a lot of big stars coming in. We'll have all the FTC students going to be there. Myself, I have a booth. I know they're bringing in, I think, Jake Roberts. I think they're sponsoring Rikishi. There's several people they're bringing in. DDP,
Wow.
thank you. But in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I think the last time I was there was 4 or 5 years. Joe, the wrestling agent from FTC, he knows. He'll say, Bobby, that's 4 years ago. Whatever. I was there on the 3rd anniversary. I couldn't make the first one. We hadn't a connection, and it started off really good, and that show has grown. The 3rd one, they did a Smoky Mountain Wrestling panel there, and I was a part of that with Cornette and Bobby Fulton and several other people, Dutch Mantell, Tracy Smothers, etc. So this time we're going for FTC and for Time Warp, and it's going to be you have to look at the dates, but the Friday after Thanksgiving, we'll be there all day Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at WrestleCade in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. It's one of the biggest events on the East Coast, especially the Southeast. And I'm really looking forward to returning to that, especially under the FTC banner, as well as I'm representing. There's no heat there, anything like that. Time Warp. So I have to give a shout out to Earl from Time Warp and Joe, the wrestling agent from FTC. That's going to be our last big event that I think we're doing this year because we have had a killer year on events. And I'm really looking forward to returning to that. We're going to do some traveling. That's about a 4-hour, 5-hour drive for us from where we're at. And it's always fun when you get to travel on the road and listen and learn from the road stories and also be around these other professionals. And the fan base there, they draw from other countries and just about every state in the United States. It's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
And if you're watching this podcast, Dudes at Ringside podcast, and you come up to our tables that day, please say, hey, man, Bobby, I saw you on the Dudes at Ringside podcast. I saw you at Sarah Bubbles. I saw you at Brock's Boulder. I saw you at the fucking Geek Metal Maniac, fucking Joe Panther, whatever. You know, hey, because we're here. We're going to promote everyone. We're just trying to get over and have a good time. And fans, get out to see us at these events. And if you see any of these people on live events, don't go up to them and say, who that, when they're talking about
who you?
Joe Panther, who you. Say, hey, I know you motherfuckers. You're the Dudes at Ringside. We saw you on your podcast, and now you're at a fucking independent professional wrestling show, and you're here. And that's what I hope they say when they see Sarah, they see Brock, they see Bobby Blaze, because we do support independent professional wrestling. We do support podcasts, and we support women wrestling. So, hey, man, just get out there and dig what's happening on the independent professional wrestling scene. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. And if nothing else, see the fucking promoter.
Thank you so much, Sarah, Bobby, and Brox for coming on the podcast. We can't thank you guys enough for coming on the podcast, by the way. And it's been taking the time out, too. So,
thank you guys. Thank you guys so much, really.
No problem.
And my closing is just keep what you're doing, guys, Sarah, Brock, and keep training him, Bobby. Keep showing him the knowledge, keep giving him the knowledge, and just keep going, guys. Keep striding. And fans, just keep your finger on the pulse, and we will catch you in the next one.